We're live. We got two
We are
thumbs
live.
up already, and we haven't even done
Dang.
anything. We're
You
cooking.
guys better wait. You better wait on this
That's
one because we have no schedule tonight. We're just going for it.
Just free for all.
We figured we're interesting enough. We don't need no guests. And we got Benny.
We got Benny, the stomper. So what's going? What? How come we don't have anybody? What's up with that?
I don't know.
Well, I think we were supposed to have Calvin on, but he jumped on last week. And I didn't,
Oh.
I guess, I don't know. And then you and me been making videos. I made 2 videos this week, or went out and filmed 2 videos. And I got my boys on my mules.
Is that let's see, that Petroglyphs you went to? Is that picture behind you?
Yeah, it's real pretty. Look at that. You see the flowers? Oh, wrong way. The flowers are. It's really a cool picture.
Is it a pretty hard place to get to? Pretty easy to get to?
No, it's easy to get to. I think it's just out where you wouldn't think there was petroglyphs. They've been there forever, but I mean, you could really drive close to it and walk up to it. They got it kind of blocked off, so you can't drive. People used to probably drive all the way to it.
Mm-hmm.
They got the brown signs, no motor vehicle.
Yeah.
But what I did is me and my son parked a couple miles away because I wanted behind that mountain on the other side is a big valley. So we rode up and kind of just poked around that. It's first time my boy, he's 9 years old. They'll be 10 in July. It's first time they've been on a mule out climbing rocks and getting up high. And he was just, I kind of probably created a monster in Trevor because that's all he kept saying. We get up high on a ridge and he'd say, "That's a beautiful view. That's a beautiful view." So I think
Trevor,
he's going to be.
Trevor's your boy?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 9. He'll be 10 in July. He's one of my twins. And then the next day, I took Lyndon out, and me and Trevor were riding up high on the side of this little mountain. I seen way on another mountain where I caught a lion before on the other side of it. I seen this big valley that was kind of hidden back there. So the next day, me and my other son were going to go right over there, but it was thundering and storming over there, and it was already cold. And I was like, man, we're already going. So we just went to a little pond so where these petroglyphs are behind me, just to the west is a pond. I said, well, let's go ride that and ride on this side of these mountains behind me and see if there's anything on there. Because you would think on these petroglyphs, that whole mountain would be covered, but it's usually just a little spot. Like you said, they're just sitting there watching, or they're like, hey, or maybe it was the bad person that so they said, you know what, go up there and watch, because they pissed off the chief, so he had to sit up there and watch for nothing, and he just started chipping away.
I know. I don't know. Some of them, they just look like they should mean something. I don't know. What do you think, Ben? Have you ran into many of them in your lots of travels, long life?
Yeah, I've seen them all over. And, one thing I've decided that they didn't know anything about shorthand, because to knock all those scars in those rocks took forever.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes me think that they were probably maybe young boys of the tribe, and the chiefs, to get them, even just to get them out of their hair, said, you guys go over here and you stand right here and you watch and make sure that the tribe we're warring with over there, if they're headed this way, then come let us know. But you don't come back until I tell you. And so they got bored and they sat there and they doodled.
So I reached out to a native buddy of mine, and I'm like, hey, and he's from way north, he's not from this tribe, and they're all kind of different, but they're all similar, because if you look on those pictures behind me, if I took a picture of every one and you went to where you see your petroglyph and you took a picture of every one, there's some bullfrog. Sounds good. What sounds good? Our theories?
Our
So,
audio finally. Maybe we got it
oh,
dialed in now.
maybe. So, if look, there's that fly again. So, if you took those pictures, there's a lot of similarities. When you're doing your videos, I look, I'm like, I got that same alien or circle or oh, or got my fly. There's one fly that's killing me here. I'm like, get him. You know, but there's a lot of similarities, and we're hundreds of miles away. So I asked my native buddy. I said, hey, like, do they talk about it? Somebody has to talk about it. Do any of the elders talk about anything that those mean? And he told me it was taboo. You stay away from them. But he kind of made it sound, well, this is coming from, this is like if your grandfather said, don't walk under a ladder because your great great grandmother walked under a ladder and lightning hit her. So you have that, you know, and the next time it's, yeah, your great great grandmother walked under a ladder and lightning hit her. And then the grandfather fell off and died. Like, it's just stories that get put down. So their family, his grandfather, great grandfather, would tell him these stories that you'd stay away from. You don't go to those areas. I literally text him and like, white people are invasive. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, we love to go
We
check
gotta
it
know.
out.
I thought George was. I thought George was frozen there for a minute, but I seen his eyes blink.
Hey, I've got a serious question about that fly.
Welcome,
Chris,
George.
is that a fly or is that a gnat?
The fly.
I can see it.
Yeah, Chris is fighting with a fly, he said. But you know, the gnats are already coming out.
Oh,
Since this is a bunch of dog hunters, I just want to alert you that if it is indeed a DPG, don't draw attention to it. You don't want those things around your face.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
There's going to be a punchline coming here.
I'm
soon.
waiting for the punchline.
You don't know what a DPG is?
Do we have to guess and make something up? Because it's probably not going to be good.
A dog pecker gnat, the one that flies around the end of the wiener. You don't want those in.
Is it flying around? Is it flying around Chris's head?
We call it the lipstick. So
leave it to Benny.
Oh man,
You don't see that.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah,
George, how are you doing? Talk some sense to us.
Now we know why George don't come on all the time.
What have you been up to?
Basically working. Went to that show there. I don't know, what was it, a month ago, and now I went to that big APA breed days. I went to that over the weekend.
Oh, this last weekend?
Yes, sir. It was, well, I say weekend. It was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I went Friday and Saturday.
Did you set up a booth?
I didn't set up a booth. I had the offer to, but I didn't because I didn't have all my stuff together in time.
What was that?
Are you picking up some traffic? You picking up some traffic with that? Being a big celebrity down there and all?
Yeah. Honestly, they make you feel like a celebrity because you go to one of them dog places and everybody knows you, you know.
Yeah.
So I stood in spot and probably talked for 4 or 5 hours.
Do you like doing that?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's interesting just talking to. I don't know. I'm not good at the celebrity stuff, so it's just so amazing that people will seek me out of the crowd just to come shake my hand. That just it amazes me.
Oh, I know. That's
kind of embarrassing, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's awkward until you realize that if I act awkward, then it kind of you basically you almost just got to stand there and just talk and go with the flow. You know, you go with it.
Yeah.
My wife, I'm always saying like, I hate people. I hate being around people, and then someone bumps into me, and she's like, "Oh, here we go, 2 hours." I'm like, no, I just real quick say hi. 3 hours later, she's like, "I thought you didn't like people." I'm like, you can't be rude, you know what I mean? They talk, and
Yeah.
I don't know why they take for what you say. I guess worth it sometimes, and you don't. It's kind of embarrassing too. Like you're in Walmart and they're like, I had a guy like, "Oh, you're the YouTube guy, hound guy," and I'm like, "Oh, so I don't think
Yeah.
I don't know. They only chase you for a job, man. maybe Jeremy could be. That's
Yeah.
why I shave my beard.
For me,
When they get close, I shave my beard.
for me, it's very awkward. A lot of times they'll get you to sign something or sign their hat. Especially the young people, and you can't. You gotta just roll. It's very awkward, kind of. It's kind of weird, but I enjoy it, and it makes them kids' day.
Man,
So
I've
I
never
take
been
it as
asked to sign nothing.
Except the check.
Yeah.
Yeah, except the check.
Benny probably
life
has that
insurance
problem all the
policy.
time.
Brett, I carry this. I carry this Sharpie in my pocket, and I keep thinking that with you, I'm going to loan it to you.
You made any videos lately, George?
I've got one that I don't think I'll get it finished tomorrow, but I've got one. I've been working on it. Yes, I've just been running around so much. I was excited today just because I actually got to see my own where I live in the daylight.
Oh.
Finally got home.
What do? You do carpentry work, right?
We do carpentry work. Been doing a lot of remodeling and stuff lately.
Cool. I got a guy out that's I got a shipping container. We poured concrete out on the side of it and cut a door in the side, and they're framing it all out and insulating it. And I'm going to move my office and everything there. The reason I was doing it is because Chris has that Starlink, and it seems to do pretty good. And see, I got about a 20-minute drive here to the office, and then what's worse is, when we're done, it's a 20-minute drive back home. But
Right.
I'm hoping that I can get everything moved out there. And I don't like to have the office in the house because there's just I like to have a place where I go to do work instead of just walking to the other room. Too many distractions.
Right.
I try 2 sets of twins.
Oh, I can only imagine. 2 sets of twins.
Yeah, I got the 2 9-year-olds and the 2 5-year-old girls. The snot-nosed kids on my video. My feral kids.
Feral twins. Benny, what
I
have
got
you
2
been
sets.
doing? What was your last week like?
I finished building a smoker, and I've been burning wood in it almost every day. And now it's when the wind drifts by there, it makes it smell like I'm actually cooking something. I bought a propane tank, a 500-gallon propane tank to cut the end of it out. And turns out that stupid thing had 90% full of propane. So
Jeez.
I've been fussing trying to get that propane out. Brett, you need to bring some propane bottles over. I need to fill them up. I need this tank empty.
I wish I was close enough.
We gotta. I've never seen this girl before. I hope it's a girl. Juliana McGill. She's a Californian. Should we pick on her now or wait?
That's pretty bold of you to assume that that's a girl.
That is true. Juliana could be a guy. It could be a Italian.
Juliana. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there.
It's a girl.
Me? Nobody asked me what I've been doing.
Well, because
you're running the show. Ask yourself.
Yeah.
So Brett, what am I doing?
Thank you. Stomp him.
I went I can't remember what I shared last time. I
That's
got a
why we want to.
video that I'm going to put out, but for I'm just going to do it for the members and my Patreon guys. I had a call on a lion track up here, and we trailed that little little female. We trailed her all over the place. We never could get her caught, and but it was fun. It was a good day. And then I went out. I got in these bit. Of course, Chris is doing it too. I got caught up in this petroglyph stuff. I made a video that I got like, well, I made one got like 200,000 views where I went to some petroglyphs and I. What was amazing about it is when I went there, I've been up that canyon a jillion times and I'd never seen them before. I'm always looking down for a lion track, and my son-in-law and my nephew went with me, and they showed them to me. So then I went up there and made a video, so everybody became interested in them, and I did too. So I started looking all over the place for them and going different places, and I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
My dad said after he knew I went there the other day, he goes, "Oh, there's an old cabin way back on the bombing range," and he said there's petroglyphs back there too. So now I'm like, I'm gonna go check those out as well. It's probably 10 miles to the south, if not a little more. But
that's fun.
So I might go check those out. Yeah.
Do y'all got anything go check like out that, George?
No, definitely not petroglyphs. No, we can. It's not that rare to find arrowheads, that type of, like artifact type stuff.
You guys don't have the rock faces we got though, right?
I mean, I say that there's probably places where it's possible, but I don't. I mean, I'm assuming maybe it's because of the different, what would you call it, tribe? Maybe, the Cherokee and that type was around here. Maybe they wasn't the kind to, I don't know. I really ain't sure.
Maybe they weren't writers or artists.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't have nobody got in trouble and put on a rock face.
Yeah.
I think this Juliana's going to be a firecracker. See the
Everybody
one below
gets
that?
Quiet so we can read the comment.
You looked familiar.
Hey, my hat's off to those working women out there in agriculture. They do work hard.
Yeah, harder than the men. Men get all the credit.
Yeah, the man drives and the woman has to get the gate.
That's about right. Possible there's lots of a hard trail passing like smart spot only to cross. Yeah, and then I've been riding these 2 mules that I borrowed. Have you ever borrowed a mule before?
George,
yep, that's how.
And they're
I learned how to hate me.
They're like opposites. They're like complete opposites. And I think one of them is off in the head. I think there's something wrong with her. When I went out after that lion, she was a perfect mule. Man, just stepping out and going, those ears were forward, and just anywhere I asked her, she was neck reining, and when I wanted to stop and look or whatever, she just stand still. And then when I went out to look at those petroglyphs, like a week later, I mean, constantly her ears like turned and looking behind her the whole time, and then wanting to stop and wanting to turn around. I was so tired when I got back from kicking. I mean, and I wear big old hooks. I mean, I got some spurs on and I can kick pretty hard. And I swear she had to have holes in her side. But she's not like that all the time. I took a pack mule. I went down to the Patrios and took the pack mule, and she was, I mean, on and off. She wasn't consistently good, but she wasn't as bad. But and the other mule,
Brett, maybe she's going through the change of life. You need to give her a little grace.
No.
Brett, well, I talk to Brett. Every time I talk to Brett, it's like he's riding a different mule, and it's on the same dang mule.
She is. She's. What would you call it? When they have different personalities.
A
I think
woman.
my ex-wife was like that too.
I was gonna say a married woman. I don't know. Except
She was-
mine. Mine's perfect.
Yeah, she must be listening. Nope.
Maybe. She did hack my Facebook. Brett calls me and says, "What'd you do so wrong?"
I know.
I said, man, I'm not that nice. So,
On his Facebook, he had a Facebook post that said, "Oh, honey, I don't know. We watched. I can't remember.
I love you so much.
I
You're
love
my
you
favorite
so much.
person in
You're the
world."
best wife." I called Chris. I said, "Man, dude, what'd you do?" I said, "If my wife ever put something like that, or if I ever put something like that on Facebook, you better come looking for the grave because I did something wrong. She's fixing to kill me." Bipolar. There you go. That's
Yep.
what she is. She's bipolar. Beautiful Brenda is bipolar.
Yep. Felicia.
Yeah, that's how my black mule ended up out in the past.
Bye, Felicia.
Pushing up daisies. And the
But
other
my
mule
dad
just walks too. I mean, she's easy. I mean, if like I said before, if I was trying to get away from anybody trying to escape, I'd be on that mule. I mean, because she can cover the ground, but she's so fast, she just wears you out.
My dad has this huge white mule. This huge. I call it honky donkey, but I think it. So we got it off in Yuma, Arizona, off a Mexican feller, and I think they probably found it in the desert, and it was probably a mule for muling, drugs and stuff, and they probably just dumped it.
Oh,
And we got them cheap. It don't buck. It don't. I haven't rode it yet. And he was talking. It's kind of hard to ride. I think if you threw a set of hooks on and gently massaged her sides, it might go out a little bit. So I got to get on it and ride it. But it's a nice thick mule. I'm gonna use it for a pack mule because he was talking about selling it. And I said, well, I'll buy it from you because it's a nice stout mule, big stout, really stout, wide, probably 15 hands. Mine's like, I don't know, 11 and a half hands. Where I step on and off, and she's tiny, but she goes. Sage, same thing. I shot off her, or I got off and shot a rattlesnake right next to her head, and she just kind of, little jump, nothing. She didn't back up 200 miles an hour. She just kind of threw her head a little bit. So I think I could shoot off her.
there you go.
Rattlesnakes are out, Arizona. That was a big rattlesnake too.
That was a big one. Was he like 4.5 foot?
Yeah. Yep. And my dog was barking. That's the second day I took Lyndon, Trevor's twin brother, out. And like I said, we got stormed on. I was just making a little circle, and then it kind of quit storming. So we rode up and checked some stuff. But one of my young dog was barking at something. So, and then I heard a little bit of a buzz. Bzz. I'm like, man, was that a rattlesnake? My son's like, man, it sounded like one. And I rode around that greasewood, and there it was. It was up too. And right away, a big rattlesnake. And my old mule sidestepped, like she knew what it was. She sidestepped out of there a little bit, and so I just got off and exposed of it.
That's one of the more frequent questions I get on my YouTube channel is about rattlesnakes and my dogs, and what I do about that. And I'm sure Benny and you have had the same thing. I mean, I treat it like any other kind of trash. I try to break them. And usually those dogs, they can smell them a long ways before they get to them.
I shot it, and then I cut the head. I'm superstitious, and I bury the head. That's just what I do. I bury it deep. And then I leave it there, and I throw it, and all the dogs go chase it, and I stimulate them just a little bit. Oh yeah.
They say if you throw the snake and it lands belly up, it means you're going to have a wet year.
I did land belly
Oh,
up,
really?
and it was raining.
Well, y'all
So
never heard that before?
mm-mm.
No, I
You
thought
know
you were
how
talking about the land.
Your education has
There.
been lacking.
if it lands belly down, you're gonna wet yourself because it's probably gonna strike you afterward. You got to make sure it's dead first. I'm sure. You know how I used to train my dogs? I would put it on a fishing pole and I would throw it and reel it in, and let pups go, and they would go chase it. I'd burn them up. I mean, I would burn them. I wasn't nice about it because I'd rather a dog get burned up on some electricity than bit in the face by a snake.
Let
You
me
know, and my dogs did good.
let me answer this guy right here. Yeah, I've seen that, and I'm pretty sure I can't
Good
afford
mules.
that mule. They
No.
they're
Those are celebrity mules.
yeah, and I can't even buy a mule. I can't even afford a mule from a nobody. So I have to go borrow a mule. That's sad. No, I
Picky,
got
though.
some that I could go buy, and I just want to make sure I get the right one. So I don't want to be like George. Don't you have an outlaw mule?
I do. Yeah.
How's that
Yeah,
one working
I got
out?
I need to get rid of, but I'm too stubborn to get rid of him. It hurts my pride.
Just think you can fix him.
Well, and once you
I
fix them, you don't want to get rid of them.
yeah. I have rode him before, so I'll put it that way. But it's if I go out here in the morning and get on him, it's that I might be bucked off, or you never know.
Mm.
Needs his coffee first.
I can
What?
look right
Sounds
out
like
there.
my wife.
Life's
I
too
can
short.
see out right there, and I can see where that other mule used to be, and I could shoot coyotes. And that's what I did with my mule like that.
I had a guy, a pretty he's now a pretty famous lion hunter, and me and Benny know him. He he just started. Now he sells mules all the times, and he'll ride anything. And he called me. He had a mule that he bought, or I can't remember where that mule came from. Called me. This mule just laid down and won't get up. What do I do? Shoot it?
Put a shock collar on it. That'd get him going, right, Brett?
Yeah, I done that. I said, no. Just get it, wait and get it up and get it back. I said, there's a market for it. I mean, for them, you just run them through a sale barn somewhere. You just don't shoot it. You might be laying $200 on the ground out there.
When me and Mike Bency and another guy from Roswell went over to White Oaks, and we were, I don't know, that other guy was on my white mule, and we were probably 200 yards from the pickup and trailer, and that mule just laid down. And I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't let my mule do that." Well, I don't know what to do. It just lay down. Well, don't let it lay down. And I said, "Now make that damn mule get up." He says, "Well, it won't get up." And he's pulling and pulling. And I said, "Make the mule get up. Don't train my mule that way." And he says, "Well, I don't know what to do." So I jumped down off of my mule and I run over there. And with everything I had, I kicked that mule right square in the belly. That damn mule jumped up like it was shot out of a cannon. I said, "Get back on that mule right at the other rest of them 200 yards and stop that nonsense."
Mute.
I guess I can see Benny doing that too. I'd like to see him run over there and kick a mule.
Button it up.
Stomping those mules. Stomp them. Lucky he didn't have his spear. He'd be spearing coyotes off him later.
Oh,
No, my
man.
See, most of them that I've worked with around here, they're on the opposite end of that. Like all of them, they're ready to roll. It's more trying to get brakes on them than getting them going.
Well, you're in pretty good mule country, aren't you? I mean, close to Missouri.
Missouri's ways from me. Yeah, so it's pretty rare to see mules around here.
Really?
Juliana's a mule girl. She just said she shipped the jack. Oh, from Ohio. That Juliana said she shipped the jack from Ohio for some
make
fine
mules.
mules. To make some fine mules here.
The story that I've always heard about mules and why mules have a bad name is because they used to take just any old sorry quarter horse or any kind of sorry horse or any kind of sorry mare and breed a jack to them, and they didn't breed them to the good horses, and
Just
so
to
they
get a
didn't
mule.
get very good mules.
Yeah.
Now things have changed. I mean, they breed them to some really, really nice mares, and they got these really, really good jacks, I'm sure, like Juliana has, and make some really nice mules, and they get some really good money for them. I've been seeing that. So,
Well, how good a mule do you need when you're hooking them up to a plow and you're wearing them down every day? You know what I mean? Like, if
yeah.
you hook it to a plow and it runs off on you, he's dragging a plow. Like, I imagine
but
it's
you didn't
gonna.
want to buy a new plow.
I guess you'd bury that plow, hitch him up, and make sure that plow was buried the night before.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's some guys that do some pretty amazing things with them, train them to well, that mule I got, my pack mule, she'll lay down. You can poke her on the shoulder like that, and she'll lay down. And I was going to ride her, and I started messing around with her, and I got mad. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that.
This is the
I don't
first
wanna go
mule
there.
I've owned, is that Sage, and she was given to me. And the guy is telling me all about her, and his son was in the background doing this. So I kind of knew I was in trouble. But when I first got her, I would unload her by a hill, because when you get on her, she likes to just go when you get on her. Drives me a little bit crazy. She's better now. This is when I first got her. So I would throw my leg over and go straight up a hill. I mean, as steep as I could find. And then after a while, she realized that I don't want to work that hard when he gets on me. So she kind of, really good mule. She's a good mule. And I say that because she bucked on me once, but I wasn't on her. I put the saddle on her strap went up behind her and touched her belly up in there and flanked her, and she bounced around, and that was about it. And then she reared up on me one time, and then she used to do this thing.
She reared up.
I was going down a trail, and she used to do this thing where it looked like someone had poked a finger in her butt, and she'd take off a little bit. And I thought it was somebody behind me kicking her, because that's what you do to your friends, right? You run up, kick their horse in the butt, and get them to do something. Maybe I don't have good friends, or I wasn't a good friend, but she got out of that. But one time she did that, and I kind of pulled back on her, and I yelled. I'm like, dude, stop. And she just popped up a little rear up, and that was the only time she did it.
Huh.
And I did the Benny. I didn't two finger it. I kind of knuckled it on top of her head, and that was the last time she did it.
I never knew mules to rear up much. I know they buck like
one
crazy,
time.
but yeah.
One time she
I don't
did.
know.
So I don't know if she just.
I'm concerned that Chris would even know how anything or anyone responds when a finger goes in their hind end.
You don't know my family.
Then he's in a mood tonight.
Listen. I told you guys I was the heathen of the group.
Oh, me. We're going to get a bad rating on this live show here.
Yeah, because we're only, 30 minutes into it. We've done nothing but talk crap about everything.
I know. We need a subject. Somebody
right, George, George,
Go ahead,
tell
Benny.
tell us about any time you've gone up in the tree with a bear.
There you go.
Up in the trees with a bear.
And you didn't stick your finger in his hind end.
I've punched one in the butt once.
See, so I can tell some. My stories that I tell on here has to be about a dead bear, because in Virginia we are not allowed to run bear out.
Harassment.
So you don't do
wildlife. No.
You can
Of
be up
course.
in the tree and from higher up, like Chris is talking about, if you punch him in the seat of the pants. But I've been in the tree with lions and a bobcat, and I just wondered, I've never been in the tree with a bear, but I'm not a bear hunter. And there's no doubt you've got a certain amount of adrenaline, or you wouldn't be doing this so much.
Yeah. I feel like it would probably be. It depends on the bear. It would probably be pretty similar to you guys going up with your lines, whatever. Um, Usually a bear, I'm sure it wouldn't take much pressure you put on a bear, and most of them would probably be out, whether they had to come over you or around you or behind you or whatever, and they're going to get out of there. But a bear typically, how I've heard that a lion jumps out most of the time, you know how it is with a bear. He's going to usually get down pretty close to the base of the tree. He will. I've seen them jump before, but overall, they're going to come out the bottom, whether they got to climb over you or whatever.
Have you ever had a bear get after you? I mean, where you thought he was going to get you?
It's very very rare. Usually if they come at you, it's usually just because you happen to be in their way.
They're avoiding
But
the dogs, and you're in their escape route.
yes, sir. But every once in a while, like over my lifetime, I've probably had probably three. Some of them will try to get you if there's somebody that's put a bullet in them and ain't made a good kill.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think 90% of the time they're just grabbing the first thing that they can, basically the first thing they lock on. But saying it, so going back, probably over my lifetime, I think I've had 2 or 3 that actually was trying to get me. One was this year, and I got it on film. So it ought to be interesting when I got to go back and look at the footage and see how I can edit it out. But he was coming down the tree, and I got up to the tree, got the dogs. I think I had 5 or 6 dogs there, but he let me get most of them tied up, and he was probably 5 foot off the ground. And then I went back in, and I had to swat at him to get him to climb up a little higher. And I got the last 2 dogs on a lead strap. And about the time I got him on the lead strap, he come down. So I took, 2 steps backwards. And then instead of him, he come on down to the base of the tree, and which is pretty normal. Usually they're going to jump off and take off or whatever. But instead of him doing that, he come down to the base of the tree. He hadn't touched the ground yet, and turned and looked right at me, which I was like 4 foot. And when you can always tell if they pin their ears back, kind of how horses do at each other. And he did. He locked right on me, pinned his ears down, and I knew I was in a pickle. So when he jumped for me, I just jumped back, and the poor dog's on the lead strap. He landed right on them. So, I was trying to jerk them off of him. And then, actually, social media blows kind of scruff up probably bigger and badder than what he is. But the little booger he run in there, and just, it took a minute, but he broke the bear's concentration, and then he went back to being a normal bear. He took off and climbed another tree.
Scruff did his job.
Yeah.
Have you ever
I had all the, but yeah.
Have you ever had one get after you, Chris?
I took a friend of mine from work, and it was an archery hunt, and he had 5 arrows, and he expended all of his arrows, and he hit the bear. And that bear come down and run off. We had dogs tied, but I had a friend of ours, was my son's girlfriend at the time, was holding some dogs, and they got out. And that bear went down, was kind of spinning around because it still had an arrow in him. And that bear grabbed that dog. And I had my pistol, but it's archery season. And we have game wardens that hide they will literally hide in the bushes where you're hunting. And so I said, well, the bear had the dog cradled, and was biting his neck. And I took my bowie knife and I ran up to stab him because I didn't want to shoot my pistol. And that bear caught me on the corner of his eye and turned, and he came to go after me. And when I turned around, I was hoping someone would shoot me or him, whichever was hurting the worst. And I turned around, And the theory of you don't have to be the fastest, you just don't have to be the slowest. I was the slowest because everybody else was running up the hill. And that bear was so hurt when he went to go after me, he just kind of rolled and died. But if he would have been feeling good, he probably would have got me because I went up to him. I felt him. I like bumped into him to stab him, and he turned around quick. And the only thing that saved that dog is this GPS collar. When that bear bit his head, it got lodged in his molars, and he couldn't bite down. He crunched my GPS collar. It was my son's dog, and his molars caught that GPS collar, and he couldn't bite that. He would have killed that dog, but he couldn't bite down full force. And then I ran up, distracted him. He turned to run after me, and he crumpled over and literally died like right then.
That's kind of a silly rule about archery only for when you're hunting with hounds. I mean, because it's like that. My son-in-law went before I knew him, he went with an outfitter up here, a friend of his, and he wanted to kill a bear with a bow, and the outfitter, they finally got the bear killed, and it died in a tree. Then they had to take a chainsaw up there and cut the tree down, and it flung the bear way down in this deep canyon when it fell down. And I guess it took him a whole quiver of arrows to get that bear killed. And he called him up later and said, "Hey, Johnson, they said that arrows are still landing in Afghanistan."
I don't care how good you are with the bow. Every archery hunter I've took can hit a pie plate at 100 yards until you get them 30 feet from a bear in a tree. And I tell them, I said, you'll probably hit the tree first. And probably 75% of the time, they're so nervous, and the angle is really different, and they miss it, And then I'm usually like, "What are you going to tag the tree, or are you going to tag the bear? We got to kill the bear, not the tree," But
it is different. I've actually got a bow. I'm not interested in shooting a bear with a bow. I could care less about that, but I have practiced them shots before to see what people go through, and it is we've took ropes and threw them over limbs, pulled basically targets way up in the tree, and judging the range, everything. It's a total different ball game.
It is.
I imagine.
I got a longbow this year, and that's what I want to kill a bear with a longbow. So every day after work, I get home and I shoot, 5 rounds.
You got it strung right now. You're not.
Yes, Brett. Had to bring that up, didn't we? Hey, I was at the Renaissance Festival Saturday, and there was a lady running around.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, well, bunch of boobies, and I seen she's carrying around a recurve, and she had it strung backwards, and I said, "That's strung backwards." And there goes my wife or one of my dog. One of them was like, "Oh, you should know." Like, dang. Yeah. I don't know if you heard, George. They bought me a bow for my birthday. And it's an expensive bear. It's a $500 longbow. And it's a 55-pound longbow. So it came kind of strung, so I just bent it and strung it. I'm like, man, this is a left-hand bow. Shelf's on the right side. And I took it over to a sports Bass Pro Shops. And as soon as I set that, I didn't have it strung. And as soon as I set that bow down, it became a right-hand bow because the string was backwards when they sent it to me. And I didn't know nothing about stringing a bow like that. So I had it strung backwards. Yeah, I'm stupid. So
how far away was Bass Pro Shops?
Well, from where I work is only it's 32 miles.
It's a long ways to drive, huh?
Well, it was. But I learned the knowledge, Brett. The knowledge was worth it.
It was worth the trip to just for an education. I've got good tracking dogs that never leave my side hunting. I never need them, but my brother usually does. I never. Hey, my dogs are so trashy. I told that story. I went and found my nephew's archery buck last year that they shot. Couldn't find.
Yeah.
I talked them into trailing it, and they trailed it.
You're like a dog whisperer. Listen, guys, you had the pep talk. Listen, guys, I promise I won't shock you. I promise.
Like
Just
I
do
said,
this one.
you should have seen the look on their faces when they ran into that dead deer. I mean, poor old Booger. He's 8, 9 years old. He just,
It's a trap.
he just looked at me like he's going to try to get that collar off his neck.
Chuck, we need your information so we can get you on the show, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Chuck, we want you on here. We need what do we need? An email address or a phone number? Or?
Well, just send us maybe your number to your email. What's your email? Can you throw your email up there and he can write it down and we'll get his contact?
Yeah.
So Chuck's way over in Fort McDowell. I'm way over on the 303 and I-10, which is like probably 60 miles from there. And then I forgot that Cabela's is now Bass Pro Shop. And there's one literally probably 10 miles from me over there on that side.
Oh, yeah, there's one right there at Sun City. Well, it's Peoria, but it's right there on the edge of Sun City on the 101.
Yeah, it's all, and I'm working right probably 10 miles from it, maybe.
Yeah, you're not very far away. That's where I go chase. I chase coyotes around those neighborhoods at night with my mom's Cadillac.
So, have you seen those big water tanks there in Sun City?
Yeah.
I did the cathodic protection on those years ago. Small world.
Hey, Chuck's an asphalt guy. I need an asphalt guy. Matter of fact.
So, Brett, what about you? You ever been in the tree with a bear, or you
Nope.
stay down on the ground?
I had a bear that I thought was going to get after me and my mule one time. I was excited. Man, we caught them. Them dogs ran that bear, and I was with J.R. Williams, and there was a big old oak thicket, that scrub oak, and it, was real thick, and they were in there fighting. Man, I was excited, and me and old Jet Johnson, we were running in there, and that bear hit HB, that little quarter Airedale I had. I mean, he hit her, and she rolled like a ball right next to me, opened up her whole side. She went rolling by me, and then the bear come out of that thicket, and old Jet's ears came up like that. He ran. He didn't. I guess he couldn't run out the backside or something, but he came running out by us, and then we went on down. It wasn't even. The quota was filled in that area. We were lion hunting, and we treed that bear. I got a video about it. It was a great big old bear in a little bitty tree, and we let the dogs tree on him for a while. He was mean though. I mean, he was in that tree and he was popping his jaws. He was a mean sucker. And the next bear, we treated another bear probably an hour and a half later, and that bear was just as big, but he was just a big old, like a teddy bear. He just sat up in that tree and just fell asleep and acted like no big deal. And
was that the bear there on the very south end of the Black Range?
this one was over in the Burros.
Oh, okay.
Or those two. We treat two that one day. I had that Super Hoover dog, and George would have even liked him. He was a good bear dog. I mean, he was nice, and he was a slow starter. He was a good lion dog, too. He would really work cold track. He's just a good dog. And he was a real slow starter, and I didn't know what I had. I mean, I didn't know any different. And but we were after the third bear that same day. And it got late, and we had to call the dogs off. Of course, I was with JR, and JR was a good hunter, so he knew. I wanted to call the dogs off that second bear, and he kind of got mad at me. So, what are you doing? I said, wow, they're running, they're going too fast. It's trash. He said, no, it's another bear. I said, oh, okay. So we went and caught him. But if you watch that, go ahead.
It's so easy to get complacent, after you tree 50 or 100 and they just act normal and fine. You get complacent with them, you'll get right in there with them on the ground or whatever, and you don't really think of it. And then a while back, one did he bit my boot and stuff, and then it kind of makes you pay attention to him for a week or two.
But you run in, they all got a person. I mean, they're not all easygoing. I mean, some of them are just ornery, aren't they?
Yeah, some of them are ornery, and then some of them, to be honest, the dogs make them ornery. Either they wait too long to tree, and then if you got enough dogs that will grab hair, then they can't even get up a tree because they'll try to jump up on the tree, and then one of the dogs will jump up and pull him back off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he has no choice but to get a little ornery. So, then sometimes the ones that are jerks.
Did you ever see that video I had of that big bear in that little tree? Me and JR, that old man. That was a big sucker. I don't know how big he was, but he was huge, and he was mean. I mean, he was popping his jaws. Poor HB. The good thing that came out of that is after that day, HB would never run a bear again. Never would have anything to do with him. She was a lion hound, so that helped.
Yeah, I don't know if the lions do or not, but around here too, you can notice one dog. A lot of times, if you got one of them bear that's on the ground and he's pretty mean, pretty aggressive, he'll pick one dog. He might run through 5 dogs to get to that one dog, but right. And usually, I'm not sure if it's just coincidence, but it seems to typically be a lighter colored dog. I don't know if it's because they can see him, or if it's just coincidence and that's what I've noticed. Or, but if you have 4 or 5 dark colors, that white dog is the one that's going to get chased down almost every time. It seems like it.
Is it the more aggressive dog, or is it just one he picks out?
A lot of time, I've even seen it be a dog all the way in the back of the pack, and he'll pick that light colored dog. And like I say, I've seen that multiple times, but I don't know. I mean, is that just coincidence, or is he actually picking something that he can see a little better? Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know.
You should apply for a grant and do a study.
I have learned a bit. I know I have a decent relationship with some of our bear biologists up this way, and the dude's a pretty cool dude. So he'll use us bear hunters as a source of information. But then we also get to talk to him. He's dealing on his side with bears every day also. So we learn from him also. That's pretty neat.
That's what you need to do, George. I'll set up a camp. I'll set up a wall tent. Everything ready for you. You load up your bear dogs and a mule and come out here, and we'll run bears. Then we'll go over to Arizona and we'll run bears with Chris.
Yep.
We can have Benny come in case we need any help stomping anything.
Yeah. Or if a mule lays down.
Yeah. Tell him not to bring his pistol.
Bring your crappy mule. Bring your outlaw mule. Benny will fix it.
You should really do that. That would be fun.
I will definitely take you up on one of these days. It definitely won't be this year. I got my wife is due the end of April with our first little girl. So
how'd that happen?
Yeah.
How did that happen when you're never home?
I know.
It don't take long, does it?
We got a guy around here we call Sancho. He takes care of your wife while you're gone.
He's always in the bear hunting areas.
Oh, speaking of Sancho, my wife just texted me.
How's your snake? We were just talking about rattlesnakes earlier. How's your snake problem over there where you hunt mainly? You get a lot of what's your worst snake?
So we have a lot of rattlers with the eastern, not the eastern diamondback. It's south of me, but we got the big like timber rattlers. And when I say big, 3 foot is I don't honestly know what the average size is, but if you kill over a 4-footer, that's a pretty big one for around here. But I don't think we have near the trouble with snakes that you guys have. We do have plenty of them, and I think I've had probably 5 or 6 dogs bit over my lifetime. But then we got them little copperheads, which they're a pain too. They make dogs pretty sick.
Oh, really? They just swell up real big?
They swell up. It's not depending on where the dog gets bit and stuff. It's not near the trouble that a rattlesnake, bite is, but they'll still get plenty sick.
Have you ever been close to being bit?
I killed 2 in my yard last year, so last summer, and one I was feeding the dogs and I was jogging back to the house, and so I jumped over top of him at the last moment. But I don't know if you consider that almost getting bit or not.
Almost enough.
Yeah.
I think Brett said this before, that they hang around them dogs because the mice hang around the dog food.
Well, mice come for the dog food, and then the rattle. I've killed a bunch in I didn't kill hardly any last year, but the year before I think I killed like 4, maybe 5 in my dog kennels out there, Diamondbacks.
Well, you've hunted Sierra Vista.
Yeah, a lot of the local hunters, they wear at least knee-high snake chaps, or don't, up till the fall. I don't personally. I probably should, but I don't. I just can't
hate them because they're so hot.
They are. But there's times because I think our terrain is so much thicker than you guys. There is times where I should have had them on probably. And I know a couple guys that has got I know one girl that got bit by a copperhead, and she didn't have anything far as chaps or anything like that. And then I know a couple guys that had chaps on and got bit.
You've been down to Sierra Vista, Benny. There are rattlesnakes all over Sierra Vista. I had a friend that had a ranch down there, and literally in the mornings, you would look under your bed, make sure there's no rattlesnakes under there. I remember I walked by their piano and strummed my fingers on it. You hear that rattlesnake inside that piano. We had to dig it out. Scary. A lot of rattlesnakes. It's so rocky down there. But I think they had a nest, but you would not put your feet down anywhere before you checked. That's how bad the rattlesnakes were down there. And I don't like rattlesnakes.
In Estancia, where I was raised, we killed 27 in our yard one year, but they weren't diamondbacks. They're prairie rattlers, and they don't get that big, but they're real aggressive, and they're just as poisonous, I guess, as a diamondback. But you just learned. You never reached somewhere you couldn't see, and when you walked out the door in the morning, you looked down on the steps and looked and made sure that there wasn't no snakes there, because they'd come up where it got warm. They'd come up and lay. My mom killed one right there in her laundry room one time. I was living down in Las Cruces already, and she called me. Oh, there's a snake in the laundry room. I said, Mom, I'm a little far away. There's nothing I can do. I said, get a hoe. And she went and got that hoe. And Johnny, the guy that was working for my dad, came in there, and he called me and told me, he said, yeah, Miss Vaughn. He had a real heavy Spanish accent. Yeah, Miss Vaughn, she killed that snake. It's in about 4-inch pieces. She chopped it up.
I got a friend that was raised on a ranch over here west of Artesia, and he said in the middle of the night his dad started yelling. Richie was just a teenager, and his dad started yelling and raising Cain, and Richie, get in here. He said, and his dad was in the bathroom off of the bedroom there down the hall or something, and Richie runs in there and throws the light on, and his dad is up on the toilet, on the back of the toilet, looking down behind there in the dark in the corner of the room there, and stark naked. He says, and there's nothing worse than running in the middle of the night and throwing the light on and seeing your dad and everything that he ever owned right there looking back. And, oh, Dad, what? He says, there's a rattlesnake. He said, well, if that rattlesnake could have seen what I'd seen, he'd have left.
Guys, I'll be right back.
I think the closest I've been to a rattlesnake, besides catching them and like playing with them, but I was dove hunting. I shot a dove. It falls. I walk over there. I see where it is. I lean down to pick it up, and a rattlesnake had grabbed it. So it was in the rattlesnake's mouth. So I leaned down to pick it up and then realized that the rattlesnake had it already. So rattlesnake won. I didn't. I said, you can have it. You're welcome.
Yeah. Ruins the rest of your day too, because then you see them everywhere. You're looking for
Oh,
them everywhere. Jumpy.
it's like when
Yeah.
someone says, I have lice. All of a sudden, you're like scratching your head and you see a rattlesnake. Exactly. Everything's a rattlesnake. I was in Boston, Maine. I flew back with my girlfriend when I was like 16, 17 years old. We went to her grandmother's house and we're walking in the middle of a city on a sidewalk and I hear a rattlesnake and I jump like a little girl and turn around and it was a big old maple leaf or whatever dried up sliding across and it's but like PTSD when you grow up, when I have bad dreams, it's rattlesnakes. Like I don't like rattlesnakes. So I kill every one of them. And the most I've killed out of one nest is about 26 of them. So,
Good. No.
but I killed
So we
that
don't.
rattlesnake
Okay.
and I took it home and I cooked it. So, and my mom did not like it because I skinned it out, gutted it, and threw it in the sink. And I don't know if you guys ever seen a snake after you skinned it out.
Yeah.
It stands up and then it falls out of the sink. It just crawls all over. And I went to throw it on the cutting board to cut it, and it jumped around. As soon as I touched it, it jumped and fell. I mean, my mom was freaking out, So, but it come out good. I breaded it. Oh, Kent Rollins, I watched old Kent Rollins cook a rattlesnake, so I just mimicked it. But those snakes, they just keep moving and moving and moving, And I threw it in my saddlebags, and every once in a while, I think that snake would whip and hit my mule in the gut, and she would kind of jump up like I noticed her jump sideways a couple times, and I think it's because it would hit her, and she could hear that rattle when it hit her.
You guys miss too many opportunities. You take rattlesnakes way too serious. I come home and first thing I like to do is get those steel toe boots off because they're too stinking hot and heavy. And
Yeah,
so then when I would feed the hounds, I'd wear my flip flops. And I went out there and the saddle house, and I have a gang box right there on the end of the saddle house where I kept all of my hound supplies in the gang. And I went by there and I fed all my dogs. And when I'm going back by coming to the house, there's a rattlesnake coiled up right there and buzzes and strikes at me. So I jumped up a little bit and the rattlesnake quick runs underneath the saddle house. And I call my son, hey, Justin, get over here. Come here. And I said, there's a rattlesnake under the saddle house. Get a flashlight and get a hoe, and we're going to fish him out of there and do him in. I don't want him over here by the hounds. I said, but your mom's going to see the commotion, and she can't mind her own business. She cannot stay out. I said, so here's what I said. You get underneath there and you go fishing around, and she's going to get underneath there. She's going to get right in the middle of it, get in the way. And I got this little stick, it was a little, I don't know, just a little old stick, I said, don't bring the rattlesnake out, but fish around in there and get you a bunch of gravel and dirt and stuff and fling it out and throw it on your mom and yell, look out, here it is. And I'm going to smack her in the leg with that stick. And I mean, good grief. If she'd have been a fainting goat, we'd have had a lot of fun because she went to high stepping and cussing and jumping all around. And then I couldn't even breathe because I was leaning on the barrel of dog feed trying to catch my breath. I was laughing so hard. But so you guys have a lot of missed opportunities like that.
yeah. And that's his first wife.
Oh, she's the only
And
one
he's-
that can take.
And she's still only his first wife. That's amazing.
George, how did plot days go?
It went good. It was a pile of plot dogs there. There was a pile of, all the other breeds too, and people, a pile of bear hunters.
Did you
I say
did
bear hunters, hog hunters, all kinds of basically dog hunters.
did you come back with a bunch of plots?
No, I honestly I didn't even get to. I didn't even see the whole. I was going to walk around and just go through all the vendors and see what I was there, and I didn't even get to. Got I made it, I don't know, up on the porch of the place, and I think I probably stood there for I don't know how many hours. And by the time I get done talking with one person, somebody else would walk up.
What's your
So
what's your favorite breed of dog? You don't really run a lot of plots, do you? Do you got a lot of plots?
English.
You kind of got a mixed.
yeah, overall, mine would be called the English
Yeah.
line, English breed. But English isn't really my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't have a favorite, and I think the reason is I hunt dogs for people, a good bit. And what I've realized is that every single line of dogs, every single breed of dogs has different lines in it. And so I can take one line of walkers and they might be worthless as far as treeing bear, and then you can take another line of walkers and
Mm.
I'd love to own every one of them, And the same
Genetics.
with all. Yes, yeah.
Right, Benny?
So
Genetics.
Is that genetics, Benny? That's what.
We just
It's
want to
more
know.
than
We
See
just want
that every day.
to. It looked like Benny said that when he just talked. That was perfect timing.
I got a new toy.
Yeah. What do you think of
Yeah,
those
but
plots?
I've had one single dog that was one of the best dogs that I've ever been around was a plot. There's another one that I can think about that would consistently trail and tree bear by itself, and it was a pure. Well, I say pure. I don't know if it was 100% pure, but it was a black and tan.
Yeah.
And then there for a while, I had. I didn't own this dog, but I raised it and pretty much had it its whole life. And it was a walker dog, and it was a bear treeing. It was a female, but just unbelievable. And then, like I say, now I'm on English dogs. So I
Would
have to go back to the original question. I don't have a particular breed that I really
be
think excels.
besides catching bear. You said she's unbelievable. What were the traits that she had that made her unbelievable?
So this Walker dog, at basically 8 months old, um, she was just born to be a bear dog. At 8 months old, she was hitting off the truck. Um, she could no problem trail consistently trail an old track. And honestly, I say all that stuff, but I think myself, what makes a really good bear dog is just pure determination. If they have that heart or that drive or that gameness, I think then that adds to all them other traits, which then therefore put all that together makes a bear dog.
When she had
Everybody.
when they have that determination, that desire, they're gonna rig.
They're going to use all
They're gonna cold trail good, and they're gonna pick their head up and put pressure on one to make it tree.
right. Because see what I've noticed, I've heard a lot of people say that with roughly all dogs can smell the same, and I don't know if I fully believe that, but I think there is a point to it, and the reason I say that is my little dog Scruffy. I mean, we all know that he's a hot nosed dog. If it's a track 10 minutes old, he's not going to take it. 5 minutes old is probably the max that he'll take and consistently tree. But I have seen him. I've seen a track in the snow from the night before that he'll go up and he'll take it 100 yards just piddling around with it. I mean, he
You can
has
smell
no
it,
intention of going to catch it, but he can smell it.
Did Did I tell the story about the bobcat last?
Tell it
I
again.
haven't heard.
Did you? There's people on. We got new people. Tell it again.
Well, we were out there and we could actually see the bobcat and got to visualize what the bobcat was doing. I mean, we could see him. We could see the dogs trailing. The dogs would trail, and the bobcat, he would just kind of trot off, and then he'd squat. And then when the dog started getting closer, he'd circle around and squat somewhere else. They couldn't really trail him fast enough to get him, pick their heads up and run. Well, they trailed around. They had a couple real bad loses, and we seen that bobcat was down, kind of a little, I call it, it's a little draw, and this was all on the side of a mountain, a big old rocky mountain, and that bobcat was down below. Well, there's this little bitty white fox terrier there, little bitty thing, about that big. She wasn't even supposed to be there. She was just there with the other dogs. She was a pet. She was the boy that I was with, Colton, his pet, or his mom's pet, and she was out there. And those dogs were up above trying to trail that bobcat up, and they were messing around. And that little thing was just running around, and all of a sudden she stuck her head up, and there she went straight down into that little arroyo or canyon or runoff deal. And that bobcat was sitting right there, squatted down. And I swear she didn't even see it. She just smelled it until she ran into it. And she ran into him. That thing swatted at her. And then she just got to raising Cain. But she winded that bobcat. She actually, while those other dogs were screwing around with their nose on the ground, trying to figure out where that bobcat went, she had her head up and found the bobcat. I mean, just went and found it. And I was amazed at that because catching a bobcat in this country is next to impossible. And man, I got to thinking I need to get me one of those little scruffy dogs.
Yeah, there is something there's something to that, and I really ain't put my finger on it. That there is a difference between a dog that we always say to catch a bear, a dog needs to pick up his head and run.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully believe that, but to actually put perspective in it, like I think there is something really to a air scenting dog versus a trailing dog. This ain't even a bear related or cat related, but my little scruffy dog, if I take him out here with beagles running rabbits, I've visually watched him, a rabbit be coming by, he'll take the track and smoke them beagles, and he'll be 300-400 yards away and put the rabbit in a hole. And these little beagles, they can come along behind him, and sometimes the scent conditions will get so bad they can't even make it. They can work the track out to get to where Scruffy just put that rabbit in a hole or whatever.
Do you know what I bet it is?
What the point is I'm trying to make, but it's just interesting watching it.
It's probably, do you know what makes sense to me right now? It just dawned on me, and I could be wrong. I have these theories all the time. But it's when you have just a minimum amount of scent, even though the animal's close, and they can probably they could probably pick up their head and wind it like that little fox terrier did. But the amount of scent on the ground is so weak or so little that the dogs are so focused on that they don't pick their head. Because I've caught lions where the dogs cold trailed him, and then when he got up, they lifted their heads up and they went. It's not like they didn't. They could pick their heads up and run. But I would imagine that big old Tom lion had a lot more scent, was leaving a lot more scent. Where a little bobcat or a little, as Benny calls them, little kamikaze female, isn't that what you call them, Benny?
Communist
female. Little communist female lion doesn't leave a lot of scent. And then the way they are, they just, they don't hardly just jump up and run. They just kind of move and squat and move around, trot and squat, and they're not leaving very much scent. So those dogs, that they're so focused on that little bit of scent that they can't ever get their head up. Maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
There's some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every dog track's different, right?
Oh, I watch those dogs. Go ahead.
There's I say local guy. He's not really local to where I am, but Alex Kershiv. He hunts them Lycas, the furry. We call them the furry dogs, Spitz type dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem to be, to me. I've never personally hunted with them, but they seem to be a lot like my Scruffy dog, far as air scenting. And he catches a pile of bear just walking the mountains, and them dogs covering ground, doing a lot of air scenting. They'll trail a little bit, it seems, but a lot of the bear they find is just purely from air scenting.
Yeah. Well, I think,
But
of course, Benny knows better than anybody, but I think to be successful in lion hunting, maybe not so much catching those big toms because they leave a lot of scent, but you got to be able to cold trail. Because the lion density isn't so great that you can just ride through the country, at least around here. You got to take advantage of every track you get. And but then you got to have those. And imagine after, I haven't caught enough lions with these dogs to be able to, for them to really learn probably to pick up their head and go in some situations or start airing them. But I have certain dogs that instead of that Iris female, I was watching her and she was kind of like Johnny Clump's dogs. I was watching her. She moves around. She'll trail a little bit, but then she goes looking because, her experience has been with 3 lions now. She's bumped into them and jumped them after the other dogs were cold trailing. So, I don't know. Here we go.
I think you have
for
Tom White always had a cur with him and his dogs, and his whole idea was those hounds would trail that lion and keep their nose in the dirt, and when it got hot, then that cur dog would take over. The track would warm up, and that cur dog would run out there, lion up a tree, and that can work, but Tom's cur dog got killed by a lion on a rock.
Yep. That dog got way out ahead of the other dogs, didn't he?
Yeah, and then there's no backup, and you got to admit, and those lions in the cans were spoiled. Tom and his son-in-law Jeff, they spoiled those lions. They caught them over and over and over and turned them loose every time, and so the lions, it's no big deal. They didn't have the respect they needed, and so that lion laid up there on that rock, and when Tom and the dogs got there, that lion was laying there with his cur dog laying dead right there between his front feet. And damage was already done. Those things can work, but they don't always work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I got my Uber driver's here. I'll be right back. My Uber, what do they call it? Uber Eats. It's my wife. She brought me some meat.
Must be nice.
He's got his second wife, Uber driver.
Yeah.
George, I think everybody asks what breed, but if you could choose a perfect dog, what color would it be? If you could pick a color, everybody has a favorite color. I don't like black and tans. I have them, but I don't. It's just nothing that. I hate red dogs, and I have a big red dog. What's your favorite color dog?
Man, color dog, that
Like your prettiest dog. If you could pick a dog with any nose of any dog, what would it look like?
Just aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm going by looks only, I have a beautiful red, like, English dog with pretty good size ears out here, nice long nose, and she probably weighs 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
If you was just to look at her, she looks like a beautiful dog. But I don't know. You can look at my videos and see my truck. You can see my mule saddle. Look, really.
No. What color do you like, though?
The looks.
Yeah, because when I was growing up, I wanted a blue tick. I didn't know nothing. I wanted a blue tick. That's what I wanted. Now if I bred my red tick and my blue tick, I'd probably get Walker-looking dogs too. because
Right.
where I got them from, there's so many lines in it. When I first got my hounds from a guy, I two of the dogs locked up, and I thought it locked up with a mutt because I had some Rottweiler looking ones, and I called him. I'm like, hey man, I think he goes, no, that's just they got a little black and tan in them, and they got a little this in them, you know. So I wasn't real privy to it at the beginning, but I always wanted the blue tick. That was my prettiest dog. I didn't care about nothing else but big ears and a blue tick. Now, I'm into it. I don't care what I got,
That's
So
same here. I mean,
I bred a
I said red tick. I used to have a beautiful, like a brindle plot
mhm.
and black looking dog, which with that brindle plot look, I mean, her conformation was just. I mean, she was built like a racehorse. I mean, and she could run. She was a good dog. But yeah, I reckon in short, as long as they can catch bear consistently, I don't
You're good
care.
to go. Yeah.
I'm good to
Yeah.
go. Honestly, most of my pack is probably, geesh, I hate to throw them under the bus, but they're some ugly looking dogs. The line- my Jenny dog, which I've started putting a little bit on Facebook about her social media type stuff. She's probably one of the better hounds I've ever had, but she's also probably one of the ugliest hounds. Um, just where a bear's broke her nose before. She's got scars all down her.
Hmm.
She just looks. Her ears they're not real the big hound ears, But technically she's purebred English, but
Huh.
so
What
it
about
don't
you?
matter. And then if you look at my mules, you can see the same type of thing. Dude,
Oh,
they're ugly.
oh, I got mine free, and she's small. She's pretty. Got a little color in her. You could tell she had something in the background. But what'd you
Right.
run, Benny? What was your main dogs?
I didn't go for color. I went for ability, and I went for locale. I wanted dogs just straight out of the desert Southwest. But as far as what really tweaks my eye, I love red ticks. And even more than red ticks, I really love a high tan with really nice markings and a good saddle. And it's odd because to get a high tan the right way, you got to breed a black and tan, which I'm not a fan of, to a walker, which I'm not a
Mhm.
fan of. And that's where the high tan color comes from, those two. And I've had some high tan dogs that were out of sight. And, so it gets back to the genetic deal. They still came from good genetics, even though they were dogs that aesthetically I don't care for.
Yep.
Right.
Chris, do you have cold nosed dogs for lion? I have cold nosed dogs. I'm in a unit right now that I've been hunting for the last couple of years that have like maybe 2 lions in 100 square miles. So they're cold enough. I just don't run enough. Handler problems.
I'm
So
I'm stage. I'm worried of losing my trailing ability. Some of my pups, they're not sticking their nose down like I want them to, and some of my older dogs are getting old. I mean, so if I don't be careful, I'm gonna lose my trailing ability.
do you think it's because they're running with older dogs and you're not training them alone? Like we've talked about this before that if your old dog died tomorrow, you'll see. I've seen it before. Is your younger dogs will actually start working harder because they don't have. If you got dogs working, these younger dogs, it's just like humans. Someone's digging the ditch. That young kid's going to sit back until you tell him to, or he has to do it on his
Right.
own. So I think if you put those old dogs away and just took your young dogs, you think after a little while they'd like, crap, we have to do the work, you
Uh,
know?
yeah, I think if I handle myself right, yeah, I think I can get them to do that. But what I gotta watch is if I leave old dogs at home, if I take the young dogs out, um, I gotta watch and make sure they don't get used to walking over hot tracks. with me not even knowing. But if I walk over too many and don't know it, and then eventually they get on a hot bear track, then it has the potential to make them just too lazy to both ways.
Yeah.
Too lazy to trail with the old dogs, but then they'll be too lazy to take an old track by themselves because they know that if they stay with me long enough, I'll eventually, hopefully, come across a hot bear track.
That's what I was fixing to ask you, is if you're in an area where you have, so many bears that they they don't really have to start, working on older tracks. They just know if they go with you, we're going to hit a hot track and make it easy.
So how I deal with that is, I'm not sure how to, in the summer out y'all's way in the summer, are your tracks, do they fade a lot faster?
Oh yeah.
We're dry country.
Anytime that sun's beating down on it. And I have some probably different beliefs about some of that. Some of this rock we have holds scent for a long time. I mean, you can really work an old track on some of this rock. But the problem is it's not consistent. You think, man, we're going to jump this lion. And then you get to a spot and those dogs just stand on their head. They can't go anywhere. They can't trail. So that's when Benny can attest to this. The guys who've trailed lots and lots of lions and can just look at the country, and they said that's what Dale Lee. He was like clairvoyant. He could just look at the country and say that lion's going right over that direction.
Brett, I always tell you to tell that story too. That story.
Which one's that?
The one where I never remember who was with him, but Dale Lee said, "Why'd you go that way?"
Yeah.
You're not a lion hunter.
That's with Steve Smith. Steve Smith, when he was young, hunting with Dale Lee, and Dale was real old, and they went out, and Dale could just go out for one day. They went out and they hit a lion track, and they trailed him, never got him jumped. Excuse me. And that evening they got in, and Dale asked Steve, and I might be butchering this, but Dale asked Steve, said, "Where are you going to go?" He said, "Well, that lion's heading over that country." And Dale said, "No." He said, "You need to go back over this way." And Steve said, "No." He said, "We were trailing that way. That lion was going over to those other, set of mountains or hills over there." And Dale said, "All right." So Steve loaded up the next morning and went to those other set of hills where he thought that lion was going. He never got a bark, never hit the track. And he come back, got back about noon or 1, and Dale said, "You didn't hit that lion track, did you?" And Steve said, "No." So he said, Steve said he just loaded his horse back up and went back over there where Dale told him to go. So he went over there and hit the track and treed that lion. And came back and told Dale, said, "Yeah, I caught that lion." He said, "How come you knew? How did you know where that lion was going?" Dale said, "Because I'm a lion hunter and you're not." But they say Orville Fletcher was like that too. They said Orville was just amazing. I was hunting with Orville, and we'd stop somewhere and check, and there was like this crack coming up through the rim rock, and stop and check, and he let the dogs out, and Orville was already 88 years old or something like that, and Orville told me, he said, "Every lion that comes into this country comes right through that crack." He said, "I'll guarantee you, comes right through that crack." I said, "All right." And then another time we're riding our mules up the road right there, and Orville, you just had to know Orville. He was just ornery. He just, there's no lions in this country. There's nothing in here. There's no game. He said, right there. He said if there was a tom lion in this country, there'd be a scrape right there. I thought, oh man, okay, whatever you say. It wasn't like 2 or 3 months later, I'm riding my mule right down that same little trail, and I looked over where Orville pointed. There was a lion scrape right there where he pointed. I mean, he knew where a lion would come in there and scrape. But that's, I go out and I pretend. I'll say, "Oh man, that lion's going right through that saddle over there, but I'm usually not right. And I was with Mike Root when we caught that little bitty tom. Man, we sat there forever, seemed like. And I was getting real impatient. And I was looking out, pretending like I knew where the lion was going. I told Mike, I said, man, I think that lion's going over there. Shouldn't we move those dogs over there? No. Let's wait. I was just kind of shaking my head thinking, man, this guy, he don't know what he's doing. And those dogs weren't even hardly barking. They weren't hardly opening. They were just kind of milling around. Every now and then one, whoa, there was like 3 or 4 over here, and 2 over here, and just milling around. And all of a sudden, wow, they had a lion up on the rock. And Mike knew that lion was hiding right in there somewhere, and those dogs were looking for him.
That's what we always talk about, though, right, Brett? Treat it like a job. I mean, look at you go out, you do a lot of bear hunting, George. But if you could do nothing but bear hunting, you're probably only at 70% of what you could know. If you did it every day as a job, you'd be 100%.
Or be better. I'd like to think that,
Yeah.
but yes, I understand what. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those guys
Going back,
did it.
so right. Yeah. So,
Quiet dog on track. Nicholas Espinoza. Have you guys experienced a dog that doesn't let out on the trail as much until?
That's the cheater dust guy. Someone asked where the cheater dust guy was. I think it was Timothy or somebody.
Yeah, that's around here, that's a trait that I don't like, but it will tree a lot of bear.
Sneaks up on
If you got a silent dog, you can tree a pile of bear. But I personally don't care for it.
You think that's good on lion, Benny, Brett? Because you don't want them to know you're coming. You get close, real hot track.
I've never been around those kind of dogs. There was an old man over here in the Guadalupes that he claimed that his dogs all learn. He said that he ran lions at night, and that his dogs all learned not to bark until they snuck up on him where they could see him, and then he'd catch all those lions. And I just looked at him, and I said, "Every dog?" He said, "Every dog." He said, "Oh yeah." He says, "If you hunt them enough, they'll get that figured out." And I thought, this guy's so full of crap. So,
stomp them.
There's no sense in talking to guys like that, because what the hell? It's like stumbling, mumbling Joe. Pretty soon you can't understand what they're saying and whether it's true or not.
I've always heard that a silent dog will get you more lions jump. Now, I don't know. I wouldn't have one. I mean, I've got some dogs that are more silent than others. I don't like a babbly dog, and I have some babbly dogs, and I don't like it. It irritates me.
It used to drive me crazy where my pups would do that. They just get stupid and get
excited.
Yeah, and I try not to shock them or nothing, because I want them to go play and work. But I feel like once they kind of grow out of it, when you start catching more game, where they're like, oh, I don't just have to bark because I can't see them no more.
What is I missed the cheater dust. What's that? I missed that.
Oh, remember we gave Nicholas a hard time for cheater dusting?
What?
I think he's from, where are you from? Nicholas, Idaho or something? Yep. Yeah. Haha, I'm here. He's the one we razzed real bad about having cheater dust. He's our cheater dust guy.
Oh, okay.
He's designated cheater dust guy.
Cheater dust guy. My memory's not very good, I guess. What else do we got? Let's see. Timothy, I have a red and white dog that is hell on bobcat that won't say a word on a track. He'll pull 300 to 400 yards. It's got to be yards on the rest. If the back, it's a new term.
Idaho.
I have mountain curs. All 3 of them are silent mouth. I catch a lot of critters with them. Nicholas Espen. I think every area and every piece of game, whatever you hunt, requires something a little different, or some people are more successful with a certain type of dog. I just know that out here, when you're in this old dry nasty stuff, you got to have one of those old hounds that just really wants to trail and really wants to work a track, and and then it just seems like with that cold trailing ability comes an open dog. I mean, a dog that'll bark on track. I like it. I like
What
that
have
big
the
old
guys
ball
that
mouth.
came
the
over
job,
at
right?
Kingman,
You're
Yeah,
not
I
gonna,
no, I
the
not
I
gonna
used to
dig.
have,
We got all four at one time. Benny,
I don't know what happened
what's the
there.
guy's
It
name
was
over
like
at
delayed
Kingman?
too.
go ahead, Benny.
The guy over at Kingman, that the lion hunter that hunts curs.
Oh,
What's his name?
Allen. No, not
Yeah,
Cal Allen.
Cal Allen.
Yep.
And I always heard about how Cal Allen didn't had any use for hounds, and he ran just cur dogs and this and that and blah blah blah. And David Heiss is real good friends with Cal Allen, and David Heiss is finally the one that dropped the bomb for me. He said, "Well, Cal runs one hound so that when things get tough, and that's not to put down the curs, but every dog has a certain place where they shine." And Cal kept one hound in his pack all the time, just in case.
Well, doesn't Daryl Fry just ran curs, didn't he?
Probably because I think John, Daryl's nephew, he had some curs that were coyote decoy dogs that I think he got them from Daryl, but I'm not sure for where he got.
Kimmer curls. Kimmer curls. Kimmer curs. Right?
I'm not certain which. Probably the Kimmers. They're the smaller of the dogs. I I got my son-in-law a a cur dog from David Heiss that was a real good dog, and she was mountain cur crossed with a black mouth or something, and she was relatively small dog, and she was a good dog, and he used her for coyotes.
I used to know the name of those real good Kimmer curs because I was going to get one. Matter of fact, I wanted to get some back years ago, but I never did. I forget. It was Daryl that had those dogs. I forget the names. I think he drew semen on that one too. But what else do we got? We got 90 folks out there. Shoot some questions.
So, Brett, have you ever climbed up in the tree with a lion?
Nope. Never have.
I have had to get dogs out. If it's a tree that was leaning a bit,
Yeah.
every once in a while you have to. But like I say, I've never had no really extraordinary, crazy things really happen or anything. Bear might get on the backside of a tree or something. Maybe it ain't that big a deal.
I better get.
Is she bringing you more food, Brett?
No, this is my niece. Hello?
I'm gonna hear this conversation. Mute. Here's a story. It's not my story, but I was talking to a guy and he had a bear in a tree, and that old bear wanted to come down. And he looks at the dogs, and he looked at this other feller, and he looks at the dogs again, and he jumps at the guy. He lands on the guy, and they fall to the ground, and the bear chews on his arm, but not like aggressive, like a dog, like when you're playing with your dog and it's biting your arm. And I guess there's 2-3 other guys standing around, and they're all kind of laughing about it because it's just kind of happened. And it's like, rah, rah, rah. And then they realize, crap, like this bear's chewing on his arm. And then the bear just kind of chews on his arm and runs off. So it's probably a young bear. It wasn't a big bear, but, knocked the guy down, chewed on his arm.
I've been in a couple caves with lions, cave holes.
Yeah.
The last one that was kind of spooky because, of course, the dogs all get real tough when you get there. They're before you get there, they're all standing back, baying
Trying
it, and then you
to...
get up in there and they get tough.
Here he comes, guys.
Yeah.
Go to work.
Act like you're gonna bite him. and then me and Benny had a lion one time. Should I tell the story, Benny? Benny's got a gun. He's got a pistol. That is the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what it is.
357, ain't it?
No.
No?
A hot loaded 41 Magnum.
I mean,
Jeez.
it's loud, and we got dogs treeing and a lion sitting there in a tree, and I don't know what Benny's trying to do. I have no idea.
Benny didn't know what he was trying to do.
Boom! I mean, nothing. Boom! Nothing. And I'm sitting there looking at that lion, and that lion looks down at me, and what is he, probably 25 feet in the tree, something like that. And I mean, those ears go back, and those eyes, they look right at me like that. No, I go to my mule, I pull my 30-30 out, and that sucker came out of that tree dead. I guarantee you. Benny said, "What are you doing?" He said,
"You gotta hit it to kill it."
He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "That sucker looked at me like he was going to get on me."
Ever since, I've been real careful how I look at Brett.
So I killed it. Now I said, "I ain't going to look at me that way." Tom, I had that Tom in that other tree do the same thing to me. He came and I was really admiring how good my dogs were treeing. I was pretty proud of him. And it is a nice Tom. And I think I got his skull right up there. And do what?
No, go ahead. Finish the story.
And of course, when I shot, he looked at me too. When they look at you with those eyes and those ears go back, and they look at you and they go like that. I can't stand it. I got to kill him.
Someone wrote it's in somebody's, I think maybe Ed Vance or one of them guys' books, maybe Brave, where he's up in the tree. It might be Ed Vance. I think they're trying to catch it or rope it. And that old lion looked at him, and he says, when that lion looked at me, it wasn't a look while you're in the tree or look. He goes, that lion looked at me to get me, and he knew it. I don't remember. It could have been Ed Vance. It was one of them books, maybe Trained by a Hound or something.
Well, they look past all the dogs. I mean, you got all these dogs sitting there barking at them, and they look past those dogs and look right at you. Now that's
time
the lions in the caves. They never paid that much attention to me. The one on the big one on the bluff, I didn't kill him. He did. He looked at me and hissed, but he was kind of like that big old bear. He was just like he didn't care. He was out on that bluff. He was a big nice Tom, and but he lived. I didn't kill him. I tried to get my grandson to take him the next day, and we couldn't catch him. And then that's when I brought Mike Root. But
George, do you think bears are left-handed?
You know what? Some people are pretty. I have never seen anything to consistently make me believe that, but I don't know. I've heard enough about it that maybe there is something to it.
But like,
do they
what
always
do you mean?
swipe with their left hand? Or?
Oh.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what Timothy is referring to, and maybe he can leave a comment. But a lot of people think the bear will, or what some of the old guys around here, they say they're like they're going to run the mountain a certain way, yeah, like the way they run, the way they make circles, laps. But I don't know. I've never.
I'm thinking about it now, running those bear. Do they always go to the left side and circle around the left side of that mountain when you think about it?
So for me personally, it does happen a lot where maybe I can see, but I think it's just coincidence, but I don't know. So that's a good question. I really don't have an answer.
How about a bear can't run as fast downhill as he can uphill because his front legs are shorter than his back legs, and he'll start rolling.
Hey, you know, boy, that's a lot of deep questions. Because
I
you
was
know, I
curious.
have seen them. I think they just get tripped up, but I have seen them suckers roll down steep hills a lot. Hit
You
over
don't really
hills,
see
too.
them. You don't really see them run downhill like they run uphill, though, do you?
I've always heard they can't run downhill. Now, I've never
Yeah.
witnessed one tripping and falling and rolling, but I just heard
They
Well, it's
have.
kind of that.
I will say that usually, basically, if I'm watching my dogs on, say, Garmin, or I'm listening to them pull a mountain, you can usually, if the dogs are hitting this long flat and then it starts getting steeper and steeper, and then usually I'll tell a buddy or something, I'll be like, well, they better catch him pretty quick, because if he makes it to the top of the mountain, then our day's going to get long. Because if he makes it to the top, the dogs are still pulling up the steep side, then a lot of times he'll get a head start, going down the other side. But when I say going down, usually it's not a specifically going straight down. Usually he'll take a right, left, maybe left-handed.
depends on the
Yeah,
bear.
so he'll pull them out. But
George,
So if you're running the same mountain, George, and you got another bear on the same mountain, they typically take the same path too, don't they?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's a
Well,
different
Yeah.
bear.
just for educational sakes, next time you harvest a bear or 2 or 3 bears, the next several bears you harvest that ran to the left, measure their legs, because if the left side is 2 inches shorter, then there's no reason for them to run on the right side. They tip over.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes.
Maybe I need to weigh their legs too. I'll cut a ham off or a
Yep.
shoulder and what.
Timothy
Oh,
brings
I mean,
it. He says
Timothy's
it's
called BS.
BS. There you go. Man, I come up with a good one and someone's going to call me on it.
Of course it's Timothy. Of course it's Timothy.
It's true. Did you ever see
Yeah.
George?
Timothy,
George attests to it.
prove it wrong. Prove it wrong. There you go.
don't
about-
just call it a problem. Look for the
So,
anecdote. Look for the solution.
yep.
Benny's getting
What
all
about,
philosophical on us.
Another thing I notice around here, our particular mountains, and I think it's maybe because of the terrain and stuff, and maybe just because the thickness, but our bear, they do like running on the east side of the mountains, a lot more. Our mountain ranges typically run from north to south, and the bear, they like running on the east side of the mountains. It's pretty consistent too. I mean, they'll run on the west sides, but as a rule of thumb, if the bears head to the east side to actually start covering territory.
Man, when
So,
I was
George,
running them up there, they just always headed uphill. I mean, they just go to the roughest, steepest, up those
Right.
old nasty places.
if the bears run from the north to the south, do they spend the time when they're not running walking back to start over?
That's a good question.
I mean, you have all kind of opportunities to file for grants.
I know.
Benny wants you to do a study.
Usually you can tell if you get on a local bear, and when I say a local bear, a bear that spends most of his time in this area, then yeah, he might go. Overall, he's probably going to make a monster circle or stay in somewhat of his home, what I call his home range, or what I think is his home range. But then every once in a while, we'll get on them bear that I personally believe they're just passing through or something, and they're going a straight line. Like they're just going to. One bear in particular, and I'd like to get y'all's point of view on this. So a couple years ago, I got on a bear not far from my personal house. Got the dogs, put some dogs on him. It was a good track. They left out of there and pretty much took a straight line off the mountain, crossed the main road, went up over the next mountain range, went down, crossed another main road, put some more dogs on him. He went across the next mountain range, went into another county, went all the way down that mountain range, and by that time it was getting late in the evening. We'd started him at daylight, and by that time it was getting really late in the evening. And I'd put dogs on him multiple times. I was just really wanting to catch that bear just to see what he looked like. And finally there was like 2 dogs on him, and right before dark they treed. And I was curious about it because, I honestly didn't think we was ever going to tree that bear because it was getting so late in the day. Whatever the case, long story short, I got in there to the tree and he had done went in a den tree, a big old monster den tree. So my question is did that bear leave miles and miles away? Like, was his goal to get back to that den tree, or was he lucky?
And it was just a tree that he found that was a den tree.
Right.
I think they're on home court advantage. Those bears go straight up them mountains because they know them dogs ain't gonna keep up with them going up. The only advantage the dogs have is they can just keep trailing them. I bet you that bear's been in that den tree before. He knows where to hide.
I think you're right. It was amazing to me see him go from one county through a next county, and then he was on the edge. It sounds farther than it is, but he basically we started in one county and treed 2 counties. I'm assuming did he remember where that tree was from that far away, or it's amazing.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think is a bear's range? Where's his home range within that country that you hunt? How far does he ramble around?
I think it depends on the bear itself, and the reason I say that is there's say August and stuff, basically when our blackberries come on, I can go in the same couple blackberry patches and tree the same bear multiple days in a row. And they're hanging out. So that time of year, I think they'll probably stay within a 1 mile, 2 mile circle. And then and talking to the biologists, they say the young male black bears, that they're liable to have up to a 200-mile radius. We're liable to never ever see a bear. He's liable to not even stay in this state. But you get a sow bear or something like that. Another interesting thing is the biologist was telling me they put a collar on a female, and she stayed in the winter where her den was. She had a den that she for years, I think it was 3 years, 2 or 3 years, they consistently kind of tried to keep up with her. And she had one particular denning spot, and then she would travel the whole mountain range, which ended up being 20 miles probably as a crow flies. And that would be her summer range, which was a 3-4 square mile. She would stay in that 3 or 4 square miles in the summer. Then during the fall, she would make her way all the way back to her little old 1 or 2 square mile winter range. And den in roughly the same spot. Mm-hmm. So that was just another thing.
I've seen them take nuisance bears, drop them off 300 miles away, and they made it back within days. In a week, they're back. So they travel. And I also think I think their food plot is a big majority. Because if you got acorns this year and they're going to stay in there, and then maybe they didn't produce so much this year, they're gonna kind of walk out a little further and further, and maybe start discovering new to where they kind of shift the area. So they may be hunting this 5 square miles here this year, and then next year too many bears, maybe pressure, or too much human pressure. And then they just kind of wander to another food source and they just hang out there, you know?
Now, one thing that happened to me, and I think a lot of this was, I know it was just coincidence, but it's still very interesting. About, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, I was hunting on a mountain pretty close to the house here, and it's a big mountain. Well, I say big mountain range. It's the mountain tops out for around here. It tops out like about 4,000 foot, something like that, and it straight line across. It's probably 8 miles, 9 miles, whatever the case. It's a pretty big mountain range. So I was in the north side of it one day. Dog straight down, jumped a bear, and in the same hollow I was in, they set up trees. So I was pretty close. They wasn't far from me. I went in there. It was a sow and like 2 yearlings, but she was in a big den tree, and they actually climbed down in the hole, a big monster den tree. So that wasn't really no big deal. I pulled the dogs off. I think I can't remember if we continued hunting or whatever, but the very next day I went on the same mountain, but probably 3 miles away, come in from a totally different area, started trailing a track. The dogs trailed, jumped, took this bear up across the mountain, and I don't know, an hour later, I then went back out, got back in contact with, or seen where the dogs was, and they was treed in the same area. I walked back in there, and they was treed on that exact same den tree, which was crazy. I thought that was really crazy because we'd done started it totally in a different area. But what really made the story really crazy, because the third day in a row, I went on totally opposite side of the mountain, which this would have been probably basically 7 miles as a crow flies. And we was trailing up a track the morning, and this was 3 days later, trailing up a track and jumped it. It went across, just started covering big old ridges. My cousin, he packed on it. They ended up going by him. And long story short, by the end of the day, we was sitting at that exact same den tree that evening. So I'm assuming it was just the same, either sow or maybe one of the yearlings, and we just happened to get on them 3 days in a row at different spots in the mountain. I don't know. I really don't have. It's just an interesting thing that happened to us. But
Strange.
3 days in a row in a big old piece of property. When I say big piece of property, like it'll take you all day to walk through it, And we ended up at the exact same tree 3 days in a row, starting from miles away each
Different
time.
places.
Totally different places.
I didn't have a den tree. It was a big old white pine. And I killed 3 bears in 3 years. They treed in that exact tree. Like maybe Mama used to hide him there as a cub when something happened. I don't think we have the den trees you guys have, as far as big hollow trees. We got big tall pines, but this one pine, I killed a bear in it. Next year I treated a bear in that same little. I'm like, oh man, look, it's over there. It was in the exact same tree. Following year, same thing. Rigged a bear. Like, wow, it's over in that area again. We get over there, and it treed in the exact same tree. So what causes them to tree just in the exact same tree? Just a big tall pine.
But you killed each bear? I mean,
yeah, it wasn't the same bear. Yeah. 3 boars, always boars. I've never caught a sow on that side.
It's a boar tree.
I wonder, was the tree in just a typical place where the dogs would catch them pretty easy, like a hard pull or something, or could you see anything?
It's actually I would chase them 2-3 miles, and the road I could park at was literally maybe 150 yards from the tree. Every time I see him go to that area, I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy one, a few trees. And 3 years in a row, the exact same tree, not one next to it, the exact same tree. It's really kind of crazy.
Here you go,
Well,
George.
I wonder why they do that.
So the Dentry bear. So the sow and the 2 yearlings that I was just now talking about. The first day we didn't have a mile on it because I just happened to walk right up on where the Dentry was. So they might have pushed it a mile. The second day they probably, I'd say 5 to 6 miles on it, 7 miles. And then that last day, because it didn't run directly to the tree, we probably had 10 or more miles on it that last day. And like I say, I'm assuming that the 2 times, the last 2 times that I went to that tree, the bear was already down in the hole, so I didn't see it. So I'm assuming it was this. I don't know. I don't have the answer if it was the exact same bear. I would assume it was, or one of the yearlings or something. And then the previous Dentry bear that I was talking about that we run across 3 counties, I don't know how many miles. I didn't even, probably as a straight line, 30 miles. But you know how it is when they're coming country. We put multiple dogs on that bear, so I don't know how far it actually was.
Biggest tree. We got tall pines. I mean, they could be 60 feet tall. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Bears around
a
here
big
tree in
tree-
holes.
a big tree is like
Tree.
what, 42
Den
inch
in
diameter?
holes.
yeah, I mean, if you get a 3-foot wide pine, that's a pretty big tree. But
Yeah.
maybe it's because there's big branches up there. They can. I don't know. I've seen bears go up a tree and sit on a 9-inch branch sticking out. So I don't know. There was one tree in an area that I called the cub tree because it had little tiny scratch marks on it. And because I think in that area, it's at a certain mountain, every year there's new scratches on it, and there's a big rock face. I think she dens up in those rocks, and then hangs out in that area because of all the oaks. And then if anything happens, she puts her cubs up this tree. Well, I called it the cub tree because you could always see little tiny claws going up it. So
I had a biologist told me, and he said it was a theory, not a proven fact. But he said that he had a theory that some of them bear that you do run a long ways and they go back to the same territory, and a lot of times they tree in the same tree. He said a lot of times that is, he calls it their safe tree. And what he said is when that's the tree that their mom would use consistently
to put them
and
in.
then she'd put him in there. Now, a lot of times, the way he explained it is a lot of times she would put him in there, not even, even if she was just going to leave him for an hour or two to go do whatever bears do. But that's the tree that they was comfortable with, whether it was a safety issue or she was just leaving them just to go do whatever she was going to do for a little bit. Now, I don't know. He said he didn't even know if that was 100% true, but that's what he thought.
I'd agree with that.
It could be, because that's how he explained why sometimes we'll get on a bear that we cannot catch, and then all of a sudden, it'll go to a certain spot and one dog will tree it that shouldn't even have treed it or something. Basically, it picked that tree. It was going to that tree just to stop. So I don't know.
They do act like they know where they're going. Once you, like Rick Cooley said, I think they know where they're going as soon as the dogs start trailing them. They do. I think once they know something's coming, they go right to where they know they could get away or they can be safe. Whether it's a hole in a ground, hole in the tree, hole in the rocks, or up in a tree.
Yeah, I think where you can start getting them in their like where you can get a bear out of his comfort zone is if he's hidden where he's going. If he's hidden to where he's planned to go, and then if he happens to, like in our instance where it's multiple, say it's me and my cousin hunting on totally different, if he happens to get fresh dogs packed on him and he's got to all of a sudden make a sprint for it or turn a direction he hadn't planned, or something like that. Then sometimes they'll get a little crazy or go in territory where they're unfamiliar. I have run them down in places where I know I'm sure they wasn't planning on going like subdivisions or, stuff like that.
People's backyards.
People's backyard.
Well, maybe that's where they were born, under a porch. I had a guy in a golf club send me pictures of he got there, winters over up here. We're at 6,000 feet, springtime, and under his porch was a hibernating bear.
Hibernating?
Brumating bear.
All right, let's get that straight.
Brumating bear. So
you're the one who
you can see
corrected
it.
me.
It stayed under there. So if they do cub under a house in a golf club, where are those baby bears going to go back to in a year?
Maybe.
If they don't get considered a nuisance bear and hauled off somewhere. So they like them bird feeders. That's a whole lot of 2 hours of whatever we feel like thinking. This episode.
Whatever we feel like thinking.
Whatever we feel like thinking and saying.
Whatever we feel like thinking. You mean whatever we feel like talking about?
Well, we thought about it first. We just put it out there.
We feel like thinking. I've just never heard it put that way before.
Well, just because we think it don't mean it's right.
I'm gonna go home, and when my wife asks me what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say I'm gonna sit here and just think about what I feel like thinking.
What are you doing tomorrow? Whatever I feel like thinking.
I'm thinking about it. I just don't know how I feel about it yet. What else? Somebody ask a question. Let's get off the bears. My gosh, I knew if we brought George in here, it'd all turn into bear hunting.
Yeah. Well, you got to talk about bears when you got George.
I need to get him down here so I can go hunting with him. I want to follow his dogs around on a mule in this country. That would be fun. I'll video it for you, and I'll give you the video.
Hey, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Where would you go? Where would you go to bear hunt with him?
Me? I'd take him right up there in that old rough country where I ran all those bears. And I only caught 3 or 4 of them.
George may never talk to you again after that.
I'll say, all right. Let's see these Virginia bear dogs. Let's see how they work.
We got these things called rocks over here, George. Big rocks, boulders.
Big, steep, rough mountains where it's like I told that guy, I said, man, I don't know everywhere I can go on this mountain, but I know a lot of places I can't go. Do you get nuisance bears? I mean, that have been moved from someplace to where I am all by myself.
It froze up.
Everybody's froze. Whoop.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Benny.
I
thought
Benny.
My internet quit again.
Whoop.
We
lost
dang.
George. We've had a glitch in the system.
Maybe Verizon shut down.
No, I'm not even on Verizon. Oh.
No, yeah, either am I.
They are.
Huh.
Oh, there's Mr. George.
We can't talk about it.
Jeez.
Banded us. It's such a different country. I don't know how George's old dogs would do down there in that dry country. Even our wettest country is his dry country. There's George.
We're gonna set up a GoFundMe for George to come out here and hunt with us, and we'll film it, and then we can put it on. I think I could show the video, like while we're all watching it right here.
Like live?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we could. What we could do is do a review. Well, who are those guys that used to sit around and review those movies? Famous guys, 2 guys. Oh, dang it. Old school, 80s.
Hey, we're speaking of me going out there, we're trying to get it worked out where we can get Mr. Brett here into our next country.
It's too wet. Too much moisture for Brett.
They just want my charming personality.
That's what it is. They want that tent on top of the truck is what they want.
They want to see how this fat man gets in and out of it.
Hey, just don't drink the Gatorade bottles on the bottom.
No kidding. Yeah, we're gonna start a a GoFundMe for under George's name. How much would it take, George? How much money do we need to get you out here? Our bear season starts. Well, it starts in August, but it's really too hot to run
Probably
bears in
have-
August.
I bet you'd cost $1,500 for him to get out here and back home.
October. When's your kid due?
So the end of April. Yeah.
Oh,
I have a little.
you'll be tired of changing diapers by then. You'll have
Yeah.
to get out.
Absolutely. You'll want to leave by then. Your wife might want you to leave by then.
Yes,
Of course, you might have to take the kid.
Brett, you
I-
can take him in August or September. You take him up to Schneeberger's, and they ought to have a bunch of bears picked out, and they got all those different color phases. That's up there where it's nice and cool.
Ooh, even August will be cool up there. Up there by
Yeah.
Winston?
Up
Still
above
be-
Winston, yep.
Still be pretty cool, or pretty hot up there. Still be hot.
Hey, that's
I don't want to get any Virginia dogs killed,
Well,
heat stroked.
What's the driest
I don't-
country you hunted, George?
Well, see, south probably, but I mean, and when I say dry, it's still got humidity, but the terrain would be, I reckon that would be the most similar. Would that be like sand and stuff? Because South Georgia had a lot of sand basically, and it was pretty hot.
Well, it's just,
But I don't know.
I want to know, Roy, where did you hunt in New Mexico? He said, I've been to some parts of Virginia. They're steep, rough, rocky, and full of mountain laurel. I thought I was in shape hiking mountains in New Mexico, but I wasn't. It wasn't the case. I wonder what mountains he was hiking in New Mexico.
I don't know. Because I can't speak for it because I've never been out there, but I have had a couple guys come from Colorado a couple years ago, and I don't like when people say this, but I'll just go ahead and say it. But he was in really good shape. The guy he was in really, really good shape. But we come out here and we about killed him.
Really?
Is it
Just
the
'cause-
humidity?
I
Is it the
I think
moisture in
it's-
your lungs?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. And the way he talked was too is he was so unfamiliar with, because we got our terrain is really steep, but you also a lot of the times you got to be climbing over stuff and under stuff while you're climbing.
That's what would be different, I think, is like he's saying that laurel. And
Right.
but there ain't, I mean, Capitan and Ruidoso's nothing like over there in that Black Range. I'll guarantee you. There's a reason nobody hunts that country. And while I was always up there by myself. Ask Benny.
When I went to the military, I went to South Carolina, and it was so humid over there. I remember how hard it was to breathe, being from Arizona.
that'd be
When
tough.
we were doing
yeah.
like PT, it was a way different, really heavy. Like the air just heavy when you're breathing.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I was just going by a couple guys' experience, and like I say, I've never been out to you guys' territory, so it would probably kill me and my dogs out there.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that they're in the Black Range. I'm not, and I probably wouldn't want to take you over there. I'd like to give you a fair shot. And the problem is, your dogs probably be fine. You're probably getting to them. It just gets tough because none of the trails are maintained. There's no roads, so you have to bushwhack, and it's just terrible to get around in. I mean, it really is. That's why nobody hunts it.
you
I
need
mean,
to be careful of the elevation too, Brett. The elevation will do him and his dogs in.
Well, yeah, because you go, you're right there at my camp with 6,700 feet elevation, but then you go to the top of the mountain, you'd be at, I mean, what do you think, Benny? 8,500. You go to Hillsborough Peak, you might be about 10,000 foot elevation,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
all. Let me see if I can do this. Give you an idea.
See, I don't know how do you think, like, so I'm assuming our air is heavy and hot or humid, but how would that really, would I even be able to breathe out in that really thin air?
I don't
8,000
know.
feet, nobody can breathe.
No.
I mean, unless you're super active. You know, I live at 6,000 feet, so when I get over in the Alpine or Unit 1 and all that, Nutrioso, when you get up there to 8,000 feet, it don't bother me as bad as, say, someone from Phoenix who's at 1,200 feet or 1,000 feet. Or, but I can tell the difference when I work down here all week and go up there. You know, because I'm at 1,000
I'm
feet
gonna-
down here. And
I'm going to try
Yeah, see,
something
our-
here, guys.
Most of our highest peaks are like 4,500 is our highest.
yeah. Globe, that's Globe, Arizona, or, you know, down there by Payson, Tonto Basin.
Right there between Payson and Tonto Basin, well, closer to Payson is about 4,500.
Hold on.
Oh, got some groovy music.
I just almost broke off in a little dance.
Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's Town Mountain, Brenda Mountain. Where are we at? PA Mountain. See if I can get this Deer Hill. There's Terra Blanca.
But just look at the terrain. This
I think somewhere like Young would be a good place to go. If you had a unit similar to Young. Right,
Okay,
right.
this is
Benny?
where me and Benny were when Benny took off on me. We were right about where my deal is there.
Is this where Benny became the Tulip?
It's where there's the Animus. This is doesn't look bad, does it?
Oh, it never does.
no,
till you
but
get
we're
in
not.
there.
I know how that is. Yeah.
It looks
doesn't
good
look-
on a map.
Doesn't
Oh,
look
yeah.
bad at all. Whoa. Don't you guys ever use Google Earth?
I'm on it 2 hours a night looking for stuff.
Look at how that
That's
snow
snow.
just stops right there. Bald Hill. See, this is, I'll show you my camp since we got all the time in the world here.
I seen you yawning earlier, Brett.
I know this kind of,
Woke you up.
look at that. You can see it.
Is that the road?
Yeah, that's the road going into it. That's my place right there. Right. I'll be dang. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I built that barn right there. And then my little camper trailer was right underneath those trees.
You regret getting out of there? I think I've
Yeah.
asked you this before.
I miss it every day. I liked it up there, but it wasn't good. It wasn't conducive to a good marriage. Yeah, but
Is that with your current wife?
That's yeah. Well, my other wife, being
Oh.
married wasn't conducive to being married with her. There's the other part of the property. She didn't like me. I don't think she liked me when I married her.
Does your current wife like you? That's the question.
I think she does a little bit.
His current wife
I-
dotes over him.
Well, she won't let him buy a $16,000 mule, so I don't know.
That's kind of sad.
It is.
That's look at what that
Neglect.
fire did. Anyway, the problem with this country more than anything is there's no roads. You can't go around anywhere. You can't. It's not like you can drive around and find another place. I mean, it's just miles and miles of mountains.
Right.
There's a road right there, McKnight Road.
I tell you what's pretty as heck. And if you go over there to North California and look in those mountains, you look into those mountains on Google Earth and you'll see just 100 lakes up in the mountains, on top of the mountains. It's
Okay,
crazy.
George, what's the name of the? Give me a name of a place close to, close to you.
All
He's trying
right,
to think
I'm
of
gonna
something. He don't give
go.
it away.
You don't mind?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna give you a place that I have hunted before that it's similar to where I live. Yeah.
Okay.
Go
The ones
to,
the game wardens know you.
yeah. I tell you what, go to look up Reddish Knob.
REDDES
That were-
ESH.
ISH.
Huh?
Yeah, REDDISH. I think it's how you. Honestly, I really never paid no attention.
Knob. Reddish Knob,
Yep.
Virginia, right there. Here we go.
Yes.
We're going to
Where
Virginia,
the
boys.
mats come from.
We're traveling to Virginia.
There we go.
Jet
Back
lag.
easy.
Reddish Knob. Look at
Yes, that's it.
there's
That looks
George's
like a
house right
petroglyph.
there.
Yeah.
Look
So
at
that's
look at the green and the
What is that green
yeah.
stuff?
So that
looks about the same as my country.
yep. That's it to the T. So like I say, I don't hunt this a lot, but this is territory that I have hunted before, and it's really similar to what I hunt.
All them roads are on
So-
top.
Do you drive down
That
this
road
road
is-
and rig?
You can drive that road and rig north or south. Yes.
Is there a lot of roads in there, or is that not so many?
Not so many. So basically, where Brett is now, that road that goes out the top, that's your main access point.
Timber Ridge.
And then, yeah, there's a few of them roads that cut off them sides like that. They are some of them's barred off. Like they are open. Like you could get a mule down them pretty easy.
Cool. Man, that's a neat looking country.
Green.
I see. I go crazy over maps like this. I like to.
I think George would like Alpine, the blue, Sheep's Crossing over there on the border, New Mexico and Arizona.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's see. I tell you what, while you're on the map, let me think of a place. Look up Moomaw Lake.
Oh, you're gonna have to spell that for me. Muma?
M0. How would you say it? MOOMAW.
Muma? Lake.
Moomaw is how we pronounce it. MOOMAW. I think.
Lake.
I'm not
Lake
exactly
Muma,
sure.
Virginia.
That's it. This will be totally different from you guys' country, but I do hunt this as well. I hunted before.
It's a big old lake, huh?
So if you so
Jeez.
right there where you're zoomed in, I had a bear swim that lake one time.
Jeez. How far across is it?
It took the dogs about 45 minutes to swim it.
The
Oh,
dogs
they had to be
stayed after
worn
the
out.
bear. My dogs would
What's
just turn
that?
around, and look at me, and say, "No, let's go around."
Well, and
Yeah.
honestly, a lot of dogs they do. It takes a different sort of hound to. I've only got a couple that will consistently swim water like that. But yes, I have hunted in that location as well.
Cool, guys. You can't get that anywhere else except on this channel.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That looks like tough country. It looks pretty, but it
It's
looks
thick.
easy, but
Thick.
every time I look at areas right here where I'm at, they're little tiny mountain ranges, and it looks just I'm gonna ride this wash like this, and you get over there, and it's horrible, disgusting, and it's a tiny little range. I'd like
What's-
George to come over to the desert where we hunt just to get a feel for it. Maybe not bring his dogs, just ride along.
Just to see.
You'd
I would
enjoy
like.
it. The desert in the winter.
We're going to
Yeah.
start a GoFundMe. He'll probably come out here and catch a big old Tom lion. I'll go out and shoot every dog I got.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of that, if it ends up working out, Brett, where you can come next year to that little dog deal,
Mm-hmm.
if that works out, maybe you can come a day earlier or late and we can ride around for a day.
I'd love to do that. I'd like to see
Yeah.
some different country like that. I'd like to go with you when you go bear hunting. I'd like to see how you guys do it.
Just to run
yeah.
with them.
Yep, that would be fun. Okay, guys, what else? Finish up. We're going to start how can we do that, Chris? We need to start a GoFundMe to get George out here so we can film it.
Well, what we do is we dress
Garmin.
Benny up in rags and put him outside somewhere with a cup, and then put a patch on his eye and tuck one of his legs so it looks like he's an amputee as well. And if they don't leave money, he'll get up and stomp him with his, or pull his
With his
spear
peg.
out. Yeah.
I will say, even in Virginia, Benny is famous from these lives here. So
We're gonna have to start charging just for people to look at Benny.
Yeah. You have to get a super. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll make them put a $1.99 super chat for 2 minutes of Benny's face on here, and that will get George out here.
We'll have a raffle. What can we raffle to raise money?
We can
Benny's
raffle
here.
that. We can raffle your new trick saddle that goes up over the horse's neck.
Yeah.
Or how about that boot that fell off? You can
I
sign
need
it with
all.
a Sharpie.
I need all of those.
I've got a
Hey.
good mule.
He's gonna put me on a good mule.
Yeah.
We
Tornado.
need to bring George. We need to take George to the Taylor place.
That would be cool. That's pretty down there.
That history.
There's no
there
bears.
is awesome.
You catch a lion though. I wonder
Well,
what
you
we-
said come over here and take him lion hunting, and if he brought his dogs, you could take him right around the corner to the Chiricahua Mountains.
Yeah.
If you come when there's snow, that Kurt Price and them, I think they came out here and caught a lion with their bear dogs in the snow. I think it was when he was with that Untamed group. But of course, that's a little different deal. Running, ask Benny. Snow. Here we go.
Tulip. He's wilting already just thinking about it.
Look at these pictures behind me. Those poppies are mentioned snow, and they're in a painting.
And he has the sun there to warm him up. I think it's interesting to go to different areas because you watch it on YouTube or whatever. And I like even where me and Brett ride, I don't think you realize how dirty dry it is. I know when I see Brett's terrain, like I know that terrain, but when I see yours over there and you're crawling under, like we don't have that big growth. There's a few parts of the unit 1 down in the blue. There's some stuff, but it's just it's crazy what precipitation does to a place.
Right.
That's what we do. We could be real mean to him, and we could take him to the blue.
I'm telling you, one road in.
Here we
one
go.
road out.
Here you go, Benny. Here's another one. Okay, Blackbeard. Which desert have you hunted? We want to know. It's always got to be someone.
I'm really I would absolutely love to come out, whether it was bring dogs or not, but just to experience, to see what it's like. Yeah,
we can get you.
Because
Newcomb did it.
Yeah, my own personal videos, I understand how it don't grasp the full picture. So I'm realistic to know that enough to know that you guys can't either.
I don't know how Brett's area is right now, but we've gotten a little bit of rain over here, and this is the best time of the year to hit the desert because it's starting to blow up. The green, like the desert's ridiculously green, and the flowers are well. Look at that picture behind me. You know,
Right.
all those flowers. You know,
I'm gonna say like Steve Smith told me. He said, "You're not dry ground land hunting unless you're hunting less than 6,000 foot elevation south of what is it, Interstate 20. If you're north of that, you're still hunting high country."
No, 40. It's got to be 40.
40. Excuse me, not 20.
yeah,
40.
40.
I-40. Then you're dry ground lion hunting.
You're not dead serious about it unless you're south of I-10, though.
Then you're just wasting your time. That's what I've been doing.
Oh man, go to I-8. I'm even on I-8 where I have to go on the bombing range and sign in and out. So.
That's what
You get over
Cody.
Hey, you could go to the Joshua trees and see what luck you can have over there.
Catch some donkeys.
Yeah.
Cody,
Hey, I
Cody
heard a
drove all the
rumor.
way from South Texas up here
Yeah.
because a buddy or his brother was up here deer hunting and cut some lion tracks. So Cody drove, 16 hours? And it made me feel terrible. I won't hardly drive 2 hours.
Maybe we should just get a big trailer, get a 15-passenger van, and just load up and head his way. And what we'll do is we'll bring him back, and then he can fly back.
What was that? What keeps going by in front of you?
Me?
Yeah.
DPG.
It's a damn fly. It's
Look
a
at there.
fly. I've been
looks like
trying
a
to get
bird.
him. No, he won't die. I sprayed him 3 times already. So if you guys go back and watch this, you'll see a cloud. See that?
Well, we've seen the
you go
fly
back
go
and
by
watch
like
this
3
video,
times.
You'll see that across here because he lands on my camera, my screen. I can't even drink my Dr. Pepper no more because I sprayed it so many times.
What? Maybe you should organize a rendezvous, Chris, somewhere, and then we'll get as many people as we can get to come. That'd be fun.
I've always wanted to do a hounds rendezvous. Always wanted to.
I know of a good one I go to, but
Like
it's
houndsman?
you got to know the secret handshake to get in.
Oh,
So
I already asked Benny about that this year. I said, "Hey, what's happening with that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's here and there." I'm like, "Oh, I get the hint. Sorry."
don't talk about it out loud.
Oh, ASMR. Don't ASMR us, Brett. Hey, George, you ever watched ASMR?
I never have.
It's super cool. Go on YouTube and look up ASMR. It's fabulous. Right, Brett?
Oh yeah, that's when people talk like that.
It's cool as heck.
And they just
Everybody whispers. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I swear to God, if our thing shoots up to 150, we're going to...
all of us.
Oh, it's crazy. I let my wife, I said, "Have you seen this?" She says, "No."
Look
She
at
gets
this.
on it. She's like, "It's making me angry." Can you
Res
please
Hound
turn
said
it
he
off?
would come. That's what we should do. We should pick a place up in the mountains where we could have, public or public land. Have a big old get together. George bring his dogs, come down here and hunt. Somebody else
Yeah,
needs
I might.
to.
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
would like to do it. I think it's. I think realistically, like the answer to which area is harder. I fully believe I will struggle if I come out there. But then to turn the tables, I mean, it ain't like y'all would be able to come out here and just tree a bear either.
No.
Yeah, I think it's comfortable in. Yeah.
If we did go out and just tree bear easy, I promise we'd probably throw it in your face a lot.
Oh,
100%.
every time we had a live, I'd show a picture of it.
Look at this, guys. 10 minutes in, I don't know what George is doing out there. Maybe he needs to buy a Tundra, not that Dakota.
we that when I went to Oklahoma with Cody and Derek, and I filmed that bobcat hunt, and it wasn't steep or anything, but that country is so thick. I mean, just nasty thick, hard to. We walked to one bobcat catch, and it like to kill me. I mean, just going through the brush and everything is awful. No way you could get a mule through there. No way.
It's no
Oh,
different.
that's like
It's no different than what we talk about the dogs. Everybody has to be acclimated for where they are.
mhm,
Exactly.
Sounds like we got a challenge right there.
mhm, mhm.
Look at that, George.
Yeah, that would be
He threw
awesome.
it down.
Just
He threw it down right there.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
bad boy.
I mean, but I fully believe you guys are good enough houndsmen, and like even res hounds or Cody King, you give them a month in a spot or 2 months or whatever, then they're going to start figuring out how to make it work, and they're going to start
Yeah.
catching game.
Yeah, and
Just
I
'cause
think the only problem is I mean I think Cody could come out here and he'd probably catch a bobcat every now and then, but he'd probably have to switch and start hunting lions because I don't think we have the
Oh.
bobcat population, or we don't have the terrain that is conducive to catching bobcats. And I think that's why your places where you go, like South Texas, man, the bobcat hunters are down there. They got a lot of bobcats. They got terrain that is good for catching bobcats for some reason. I have no idea why it is. I don't know if it's because it's a little more humid or what the deal is. But I know there's a bunch of good dogs and good bobcat hunters down here. And, in the Southwest, we got the colder nosed, dry ground, straddle a track, lion hounds. And then you go further up north, you got a little bit, different kind of dog that probably, runs a little hotter track, and maybe I think every place has a different hound and has a different is suited different, or the game's different. I mean, we got bears, but it don't sound like we got bears like you have in Virginia. I mean, you catch what, 3 or 4 a day. I mean, that's like those bobcat hunters down south.
Yeah. I mean, we have the potential to catch multiple bear a day if all the bear are out. Now, like I say, in the winter, it sounds like we kind of revert more back to y'all's. We're hunting to hopefully find one track that we're going to have to trail for hours, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, during August and September, we have the potential to tree multiple bear a day.
Yeah. And then when you can do that, what happens? You make good dogs. I mean, because they get to see a lot of game. I mean, and that's
Well, yeah, and what I've noticed is it makes good dogs, but it actually builds the confidence in the dogs. So when they start trailing a track, they know that they're going to jump it here in just a little bit, and when they jump it, they're going to run that sucker to catch it. They're not just going to push that track or follow. They're going to actually push that track trying to catch it because they know the day before that they did that, or a couple hours ago they caught one.
Yeah, so it motivates them a little more. We thought you were dreaming, Calvin.
Dreams.
Yeah, there we go. We got all deep again into.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we should organize some kind of get together.
trip.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I was looking at a bus today. To buy a bus.
You gonna build
Maybe
like a camper in it and dog boxes?
Yeah, we'll just. Yep, I'll put double stacked dog boxes in the back. Put us a little stove in there, refrigerator, and go.
We could take this show on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
Cool.
do you know Johnny Johnson?
Who?
Johnny Johnson?
The Fisher guy?
No, he ranches at
Oh,
Young.
the other
He's an
guy.
older-
Yeah, I've heard of him.
But you don't know him?
No.
I think that young country would be a good place to get together, like
Is
you're
he
talking about.
even got? Does he even got dogs still down there?
No, no, I don't.
No,
I
but
don't think he.
you know who's down there, and that's
Dale.
Dale Robinson.
That guy's he's got a male dog that I guess is unbelievable.
The guy's nice as heck. He's actually. I just texted Heather today, his wife, and asked if they wanted to come on Wednesday. But he's
They're
always
taxidermists,
gone and
aren't they?
They were. They're finishing up some stuff, and I think they're getting out of it. Last I heard. But
That
that guy
guy-
catches,
Everything.
and he lets
doesn't
anybody come with him. He's like, "Yeah, come down and hunt." I was supposed to go hunt with him, but they had that fire down there, so I never really got a chance to. But he don't care. He's like, "Come run with me." He's a real nice guy. Real
Yeah.
nice guy.
Yeah.
But I think that
So
that would be an area to have a get together up there at
I
Young.
think so. Yep.
Let's
that would be a
organize
good
it.
spot.
Somebody organize it. I'll help out.
I think I will.
It's Chris's deal.
Oh,
I'll help him.
put it on. I'm calling it the stomping grounds,
What?
hounds.
Benny, what will it take for us to get you there? Because it won't be. Nobody will show up unless we know you're going to be there.
We'll tell them
I'll-
there's free food.
We'll set up a
I'll
little
try.
booth with a curtain. We'll charge $2 to go in there and talk to Benny.
A free show.
Yep.
That'd be
You know,
good.
If we could get Dustin and Chrissy over there with their Dutch ovens, and
Oh,
the word got out one time, the food, everybody would come back year after year.
Yeah. Be cool.
do it.
Yep. George, I'll go to your deal if you'll come down here to our deal.
Hey, I would do my best to.
Yep. Cool. Well, what time of year is the best? October is what I'm saying.
Well,
Into
that's you
September.
that's when all the hunts are. I think it'd have to be a spring where everybody's kind of wrapping up their hunting. Arizona, you can't run dogs in the spring. You can run lions still if they're open. That unit will probably be closed. It closes pretty quick. So I think spring. Benny's happy tent.
We could Benny take his shirt off and put his Speedos on.
hmm We can get him one of them. We'll get him a Lorax mask.
When we were hunting that one time, we caught that lion. I come walking around the trailer, and Benny had his shirt off. I swear that it was a gray bear standing there. I've never seen anybody have so much hair on their back.
Fire starter. You can if you get lost, you can pick a little and
He had
start
like-
fire.
He had like dreadlocks hanging down.
You can hear it in the wind. ASMR.
And he'd sit there and he'd just shake it like that, trying to get it straightened out. Told him, Vinny, be careful. That we'll have a bear come down here and try to court you.
Probably March or April would be the best time of the year.
That's what I'm thinking because all the hunting's kind of getting wound up.
And it's not getting hot.
That's a neat little bowl there too, young.
The Matt
So-
LaRue. Who is that?
I don't
Who
know.
is
know.
New guy.
the Matt LaRue?
We'll stalk you.
Yeah, we got to have a
Just
real
tell-
name. We can't have any fake names on here.
Just tell us who you are now. Get it over with.
Slow-mo hair commercials. Oh, jeez.
We could draw a little circle on his back, and we'll take those little Velcro balls. Win a prize.
It's good to be loved.
Well, what does Brett say? What do you say, Brett? If we're not picking on you, we don't
I
like
tell you what, if I don't pick on you, I don't like you. So
So
I tease.
where was this? The Matt LaRue, where was this at?
He's-
Was it
Springerville.
Was it house? So was it at Dustin's house, Matt?
Be patient, Benny. He's typing.
You don't even know
Don't
how.
get angry.
I know.
He's got
Answer me. Pull out the spear. Now.
Come on, Matt.
Jesus.
Let's don't make
us
him
wait,
mad this
please.
late at night.
Oh.
I'll have to get the rest of the night with my Pyrenees barking at Kyle.
You by Josh Ranch on a hound
that's way over
meeting
there.
place with a circus tent.
Is
That
that Van
was-
Hill?
So Brett, that was at the shipping pens up there by Beaverhead, and that was the year that I brought a tent up there and set it up, and Forest Service guy came over there and started giving everybody a bunch of horse shit. And I came out of my camper. I was going to go run his ass off, and Dustin says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! We'll take care of this, Benny. We'll take care of this." It's like, get that dumb ass out of here. He's coming over here giving us shit because we don't have
Wanted
a
a-
permit.
Permit. Yep. That's why you got to
What-
find private
Was that the
property
year
to
I
hold
I
this.
couldn't go?
I don't know, Brad. I don't remember, but I know that I brought a big tent with me, and we set it.
Circus tent.
Man, it was fair to set that big old tent up because the way it was a real big tent.
I remember
one-
one year
one of
big
those-
tent.
It was probably 40 by 60.
Hmm We need it again for our get together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
start
have
making
access.
some calls.
So that was up there at the shipping pens when we used to go up there every July.
I can't remember. I remember one year I couldn't go.
It was a circus tent. It was a circus tent, Benny. Don't try to dress it up. Benny,
It was. There's no dressing it up.
did it have the red stripes and everything?
Yeah, it was like white and blue, I
Oh.
think.
He stole that off of Exterminator, where they cover the houses. That's what he did. Why did it smell funny?
Yeah.
Chris
Oh.
is Gilbert, your
Oh.
brother or cousin. Do you see that, Benny?
Tell me why first. Tell me why, Matt. Does he owe you money? Did he sleep with your wife? Tell me why first. Did he steal from you? He's my cousin.
Benny's always suspicious of everybody.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I think Matt's undercover anyways. Game warden.
Guys, I got to leave for just a minute. I'll be right back.
Old man.
I don't know what the
he had
big
to go
deal is.
quick.
Porch. There's no porch in town there.
No. The circus tent plays with this. I grew up with his, and we used to hang out at a place in White Mountain Lake area. Was it a bunkhouse? Because that was probably my place that everybody used to go party at. Had a big fire pit, big bunkhouse. I still have it up there. So yeah, he's my cousin. He ran dogs for a while, then he didn't. And then I gave him some dogs, and I got my dogs back. I actually just had to put one down that I gave him that was last of my Salazar line, like the purest part of it. I still have that line, just my last dog. Yep, sure is. Yeah, that's my place. So, what? Well,
Springerville. I was in Springerville at one time.
I've looked for property over there. I wouldn't mind living over there.
I wasn't gonna actually live in Springerville. I was gonna live over there. I don't remember what they call that place.
Nutriosa?
Dog- No, Dogtown. It's in New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
We found a place over there and everything, and then we didn't go.
I'm starting into the hounds now. Don't do it, Matt. Save yourself. Listen. Go hunt with Dave in Springerville or Sonny, or go hunt with someone that has dogs, that feeds their dogs and rakes their own crap, and just be a bum. Be a mooch. Over there with
That's
dog
that's
food.
what my son Tyler. Tyler said, "Well, Benny, how come you don't get dogs again?" And I said, "Because I can't hunt with everybody else when I have my own dogs,
Yep.
because I have to have dogs, and
Dog
I don't
patch.
dog food, and I don't have to listen to my wife complain about picking up dog crap." There's
Yep.
there's a number of reasons. I mean, sure, it's not the same as having your own dogs, but at this stage of my life, it's pretty easy because I can go hunt with whoever I want with no strings
Yep.
attached.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if there's any wrongdoings, you blame them for it and say you were just tagging along. I don't even know who these guys are.
Yeah, hey,
They
I,
picked me up.
I was lost. Thank
So-
you so much for finding me.
So always park your truck about a mile down the road and make sure it's empty on gas. One thing right. Well, heck, Matt, come hunt with me. I'll teach you about the wrongest way you can. That way you'll learn the right way later on. You got to learn the wrong way first, right?
Gotta make all the mistakes first.
Yeah.
I'm still making them.
Oh, yeah. You know, I don't ever claim to be the best houndsman, but it's what I like to do. And I think if you don't get caught up in you're better off hunting by yourself, honestly. If you can tag along with some older people and that can kind of just give you some tips and hints, you know.
Well,
So-
there's a lot of, let's see how I can put this. You hunt, when you go and you hunt on a lot of private land, you get to, ranchers give you the key to the gate, and because you're a lion hunter and they want you in there, and you don't, you catch a little female up on a rock and I don't want to, you're not supposed to kill those little females because, dead lions don't leave any tracks. And not only that, you kill that female, you got her kittens for the next, whenever. They're not going to be around, so you really can hurt what you're trying to hunt. There's different thoughts with it, but like Orville Fletcher told me, he said, that's why you always hunt by yourself. He said, because nobody really knows what you do. So,
And that's cover guys are always after us.
do what?
But that's why the undercover guys are always after us.
I thought it's just because I hunt at night and then my bait piles I leave and all the cameras I use that on cell towers. That's what I thought it was for.
So
Dang.
Matt LaRue, do you know Armando Arona? Give him time to type. If he knows Armando,
Be patient, Benny.
I know.
Don't start yelling.
Oh, Matt, he already has a strike against him right now. Because I think him and his
that
girlfriend.
serious look. He's looking at that screen like, hurry up and answer.
He already has a Facebook with him and his girlfriend. That's not good.
Let's see. But if I could introduce him to Armando, and if they got along, Armando would take him anytime. Armando's, you know Armando. He's a class act, good guy.
Yep. What else, guys? We did it again.
Did we hit 3 hours? Oh, we did.
We hit 3 hours. Joe Rogan, watch out.
Oh, I got me a new seat. Does that count?
That's one of those gamers seats, isn't it?
It is. I did. And it leans back, and it's better than that fold-up I had in my trailer.
I got a big old comfy
I know.
chair here.
Probably has a little heated and massager in it.
No, but it's got little stilts on it because of my table. I had to lift it up, or I'd have been down like a little kid. Anyway, anything else? Anybody's got any questions, comments,
Better say them now. Better say them now.
concluders? Till next week. Who are we going to have on next week, Chris?
I don't know. I feel like
Chuck.
When
We
we
sent
just-
Chuck there's Chuck. Oh,
Chuck's, you still on? Yeah, Chuck, we're still on.
Yeah.
Waiting on you.
we've been waiting on
We
you
weren't
all
gonna-
night.
Yeah, we weren't going to end this until you came back. Chuck, send an email. That way we have your number. We'll get you on. Let's get Chuck on next week. He knows a lot. And if you're ugly, if you're too ugly,
Next
we'll just put a mask on you like we do Benny.
That's not the way Benny really looks. He's really not that handsome.
He has a filter on right now to disguise his looks from all the game wardens.
From the undercovers.
Yeah. Well, I guess Matt, I think you scared Matt away.
Probably.
Put too much expectation on him.
George, what do you got going on? You got some good videos coming out? You went like gangbusters there for a while, and then all of a sudden, flatline.
I know. I got so busy. There's always
Celebrity
excuses.
experience. He's doing celebrity
Consistency,
appearances.
consistency.
Now I will say I did. I mean, I don't want to get off on this too much because people will leave. But them shorts, I mean, to me they're kind of dumb and short. But boy, they do pick up your subscriber rate really fast.
Do they really?
Yeah,
they
I just
do.
figured that out, huh, Brett?
I hate
I
shorts.
I do. You know, I don't put a lot on. I just put one on. It was like 600 views. I'm like, kind of lets people know I got a video coming out. I wake up next morning, it's 10,000 views. I'm all and like 36 subscribers. I'm like, geez, I haven't even put
Right.
that video out yet. So
And how much money did you make off that short?
me,
Nothing.
dollar. I'm up to $1.26. I told my dad I quit. I'm putting in my 2 weeks right now.
You better find a place to invest it.
Well, I'm invested in a Sharpie.
Don't just blow it.
I'm invested right in a Sharpie, so
So you can sign all those autographs?
Yep. Yeah, I want to sign Benny's back or attempt to.
You better bring you a big old set of clippers first.
4-inch
Hey,
roller.
Down there at APA days, Kurt Price, he had a booth set up down there.
Oh,
And,
really?
It was, yeah. I spoke to him just a moment, but I got so caught up talking myself.
Really?
But
How was he?
So
Did he
it-
have a bunch of people all hanging around him and stuff? And
yeah, they said Wednesday and Thursday, which was a lot of the older type bear, not really the celebrity type people, but they're on the Saturday, when it was families and kids showing up a lot, the working class people that got off from work and just come there for the show. No, it was a lot of them, and they was getting him to do, he was signing some stuff.
he's popular,
Yeah.
man. He does good. I thought it would be
Yeah.
a lot younger crowd, though, that would like him. That would be.
Yeah, it was. I had a couple kids, and when I say kids, like I'd say 10 years old. They brought some of his hats up for me to sign.
Did you cross out his name? I'd have crossed out his name and put mine right under it.
I just signed the other side of the bill.
You should have threw that hat away and just gave him one of yours.
That's good.
So,
Say, what are you doing with this
Yeah.
junk? Here, let me give you a good hat.
Yeah.
yeah, that was did catch that as funny. But no, it looked like he was doing pretty good. Yeah.
I imagine he's
I
real
mean,
popular.
Probably, whatever the case between all the whatever he knows how to handle social media and build a YouTube channel, so
Yes,
I'll
he
give him
does.
that. So I highly respect him for what he does for that.
I just got
that
a
side of it.
message. I just got a message from someone in Young, Arizona, Unit 23 South. Said, "Come hunt." There you go.
There you go.
We're making connections already. Oh, wait. They just sent another thing. Said, Benny, you better stay home.
Can you, hey Brett, can you just bring George and leave those other guys home? They're not,
Just
they
kidding.
think they're funny, but they're not funny at all.
I was,
Oh, gee.
I spent a lot of time riding motorcycles around Young, Arizona in the mid 70s.
That's what's that guy that? Oh, I got a video of him. Bruce Kennedy interviewed him. Old man, lived up there young, was kind of a controversial. He did a lot of canned hunts.
Oh, I don't know.
Not Proctor. Proc.
DJ Proc.
Yeah,
I've heard of him.
he was kind of a. He even did a. You shouldn't speak bad of the dead, I guess. But he, back then, I think it wasn't. He was right at that period of time when it became kind of unethical or illegal to do a canned hunt. See, back a long time ago, those guys, they didn't think nothing of it. If they had a hunter that they think couldn't get to a tree or couldn't get through the country, they just set up a canned hunt for them, and then they,
So a lot of these, what's a canned hunt? 'Cause
Well,
a
they
lot of
have
these guys don't know.
they either tranquilize a lion or a bear, or there's other things they would do to them, whatever, to slow them down. I know Ross Johnson up here. I think he used, was it Rompum or something like that? I don't know. He used something in a bait pile, and he used to drug a lot of those bears, and then he'd bring guys up there, and you'd have a drunk bear that couldn't hardly go, and
Cocaine
there he
bear.
is. There he is. Shoot him. I mean, and then, but
CJ Proc.
yeah, CJ Proc.
Chuck
I think
knew.
I
Chuck
think
knew
he
him.
did something with a jaguar one time that was illegal, but I think he was probably a pretty good houndsman too. And he'd go up to Nevada, I think, Chuck. Nevada? I think he hunted up there some. So anyway,
Chuck,
yeah.
send us your information.
I think Chuck is just teasing us. He doesn't
don't-
really want to come on.
No, he said he wanted to meet up though.
Good.
Phoenix. Travis Dodgehill also did canned hunts in that area.
Yeah. I think, well, I know.
Who? Did he say Travis Stodgill?
Yeah.
Travis got in trouble. Travis was from Pine Strawberry area, and he got in trouble for bear gallbladders.
Oh. Yeah, I think Bill Brown did too. Up north.
I sent you an email, Chuck.
I don't think he's seen it. Oh, I sent it to Brett. He said he sent it to you.
Well, yeah, he sent me a thing, and I sent him the link in an email back.
Oh, to come on tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too late now, Chuck.
Yeah, we're
It's all
past
yours
our
next
time
Monday.
limit.
Yep.
My first wife gave me the signal like the alarm has gone off.
Bedtime. Benny, it's your bedtime.
Is that what she did, Benny? Come here, you
Well,
big
like-
hunk of man.
She went like this. Don't make me, Benny.
Guys,
All right.
thank you.
All right. It was fun.
Schedule us something for next week, Chris. Chris is the guy who usually gets guests. So line somebody up. And then Chris has his deal on Wednesday nights at what time, Chris?
5:30.
At
Arizona
5:30.
time.
And who are you going to have, you think, this week?
I'm trying to get Dale Robinson on.
He would be good. That guy's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I
So-
think these guys are kind of nervous, like when we had Tom on, Taylor, he started off real slow and end of it, he just blew up. So I think if we have him on again, we just let the gate go and let him go, and we go do whatever
Well-
we need to do and come back in 2 hours.
We're basically the same way. We all start
Yeah.
off slow, and then then we get warmed up, get to talking and laughing,
Yep.
and make a good time of it.
Well,
But
even these guys that do podcasts, they're on a phone or they're not live. The live scares them a little bit, but once they get warm up, I'm like, dude, it goes by quick. An hour's
yeah.
gone. 3 hours is gone.
See, when we have our rendezvous, we could all have every night have like a campfire live around the
Mhm.
campfire. I
Yep.
don't know if I want to sit that close to Benny if do one of these.
Just bring the green moonshine, Benny, the green Kool-Aid.
The
No,
Brett will forget all about it.
that's the- what else? Oh yeah, Chris, Wednesday night, 5:30. He does his own podcast. He's never really invited me on, but that's okay.
Oh, he lies. He's been on, and I sent him a link, and he's too tired. Got to go night-night. and now he's an hour behind or ahead of me. So definitely,
Then it'll be
it's
really
only
late.
7:30 where I'm at.
Oh, so you'll be 5:30.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay.
Arizona
Yeah, see,
is
it's almost
True
11
time.
here.
Oh wow, no wonder you look
Yeah.
tired.
I know. Someone said George looks sleepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then George's channel, YouTube channel, Mountain Music and Mules, has the best bear hunting videos on the internet. They're better than
Mhm.
because they're real. You don't see all this what do you call it?
AI.
Hyped
Hyped up drama.
Mm-hmm.
None of these thumbnails like
Yeah.
this.
Even Kirk Price fans come to George to get Kirk Price stuff signed.
They bring Kurt Price's merch
Yeah.
to George to sign.
Yeah.
You
That's how
can't beat
good
that.
I don't even know how George knew anything was going on with all the fans around him.
I know. He can,
Jeff Allen already was on, Roy. Where you been?
we had Jeff Allen. Where were you? Is what the question is.
Yeah. Someone asked me, he said, hey, you should have Carl Boykin on. So I went through, found the link and sent it to him. He's all, where was I? I said, I don't know, not there.
Hey, we should have Carl on and Chris Todd at the same time.
I think so.
That would be
I
fun.
think so.
We could just
Let's
sit
hash
back.
it out, guys. That's when I will mail everybody cigars. We'll just let it go. on one of my videos, I mentioned Carl this next video. I think it's my next one. So,
I was going
I
to
said,
buy a mule
I hope
from
my-
Carl, but I don't know. They got
long way.
well, and they got a little bit of age on them, and I'd rather find one a little bit younger if I could. But oh well. Made Kirk's
right.
stuff more valuable.
I'm gonna have
George's
Kurt's-
gonna get an email from Kurt.
He's going to call him up tomorrow. Hey, I heard you were talking
Hey.
crap about me on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, guys. I got a 20-minute drive to get home.
I
So
know.
thanks a lot. This was fun. It's a lot of fun. So,
Next week.
Benny, thanks for coming. I was worried about you tonight. I called him right away. I said, "Are you around? I haven't heard from you." It's not going to be the same if you're not here.
Yep.
Haven't found the live. Dang-o. Haven't found the live yet. This is the
It's
live.
there.
What live?
No, for Jeff Allen.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. It was just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
2
it was a
weeks
good
ago.
one.
I think
Yeah.
it was.
It was.
No, he
the
came
week
out strong.
It was the week before Tom and Tina, so it was 2 weeks ago.
You know, and he was one of them guys too that said, I'm not real techie. I don't know what to say kind of guy. And he got on there and he did good.
Real good. It was. I enjoyed the heck out of that. I
Mhm.
mean, that's. He's right up there with all those other old guys that I like to talk to.
Yep.
Benny.
We got to
So-
keep talking to Benny before he starts forgetting stuff.
Yeah. Here.
All right.
Cool. Guys,
Next week.
line us up somebody else. Chris, you get around. You got all that
I am.
Facebook presence. I'm not big on Facebook. I don't like it. So
As long as I'm not in Facebook, Joe, I'll do my best.
cool.
Hey, get a hold of Ed.
Advance would
I
be
think
good.
I will. I've texted him before. I'll get hold of him, see if he wants to come on. He's a political guy, though.
Oh,
Yeah, but we need a Texan on here.
Ed's not a Texan.
Who's the guy down in there in the Davis Mountains?
I have a Texas hog guy I was talking to, another hog guy.
Oh, there's a guy down there. I'll have to look on my Facebook. There's a guy down there that I think he's mostly retired, but it's his son or son-in-law. Somebody has taken over their hunting deal, and he's a houndsman.
Breck Bean is down there. I don't know if we could ever get him on, but him and his boy catch a lot of lions. They got all that country.
Maybe that's who it is.
Yeah, they
Breck
got. Me and Breck have traded dogs before. As a matter of fact, I got
Bean?
Breck Bean. Yeah, I got one of his dogs. I'll call him. I don't know if he'll do it or not. He doesn't. I talk to him. I don't even think he really likes to talk to me, let alone get on the internet.
Well, we'll trick him.
But he's a good guy. He's a real knowledgeable guy. Been around. He knew how what you call it. It's getting late. I'm forgetting everybody's names. But anyway,
He knew Dickerson.
Dickerson, and he knows. What's the famous one down there, Benny? I can't remember his name. Newt, the dog. I remember the dog's name. Henry McIntyre.
Oh,
And that Moore, he knew him. And
Jim Moore.
A bunch of those guys. Breck's a little bit younger than I am, but he's been catching. They catch a lot of lions down there in that country.
Yeah.
They own a bunch of that country. They run a lot, or well, they guide hunters for trophy mule deer and a bunch of different things.
I saw where there's a huge ranch down there that they put pieces together, and it takes in it takes in like 11 different headquarters for different ranches. It's just one big chunk of land down there now, and it's for sale. So we could start a GoFundMe for that. It's only $300 million.
Oh shoot! Chris pulled that out of his shorts money
I got that. I have that under my mattress.
from his
Well,
YouTube
if
earnings.
Put it out of it, we'd have to have it long.
I'm gonna hold on, Roy. I'm gonna give you a link to the Jeff Allen. So
George, you can
find-
jump off or you fall asleep.
Yeah,
So
George,
you still
if
got to
need
drive
go.
home.
Oh, it ain't no big deal. If I fall asleep, y'all just holler at me.
Just don't
We'll just leave it on live all night.
I know what
People
you
can watch you.
We'll
go away.
Through.
I will,
Hold
Chuck.
on.
I'll get your number.
Do.
Eddie Lackner's sons. They still pound the ground in
Oh,
Klondike.
Until Eddie Lackner's ranch used to produce tons and tons of lions every year, and that's where the USDA would send their government trappers and hunters down there on Eddie's land to get them trained up in catching lions. But when Sam Derringer started hunting down in there, he actually got the country pretty well cleaned out.
Here you go, Roy.
Yeah. There it is.
That's
Jeff Allen didn't really blink at it. I said, hey, you want to come on? He says, well, I'm not techie. I said, well, just be real quick. You get on for a little bit. And I think he stayed on for an hour.
Yeah, he was good. I think his
Yeah.
wife probably helped him a little bit get on.
Yeah. Yep.
So, anybody else you can think of, or any of you guys out there in the comment land, let us know.
Yep.
We're friendly. Well,
We don't mean it. We're friendly.
You don't see that every day.
all right, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Better go. George, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Benny, thank you, as always. Chris,
All right.
I'll call you in a little while.
Sounds good.
All right.
Later, guys.
All right. See you.